Good morning, 6 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Monday Night Football last night. Broncos beat the Bills 24-22. Broncos initially missed the game-winning field goal, but a 12-men on the field penalty gave them another chance. This time, Will Lutz didn't miss and puts the Broncos ahead with no time remaining. Broncos have now won 3 in a row, beating the Chiefs and the Bills in their last 2 games. Bills fall to 5-5 and are currently on the outside looking into the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, the AFC is currently a dogfight. Every team currently in the playoffs, aside from the Texans, are 6-3 or better. Teams on the outside looking in. The Bengals at 5-4. They'll get a chance to remedy that this week and Thursday Night Football. And the Bills and Colts at 5-5. The Chargers at 4-5. All teams on the outside looking in. In college basketball last night, number 14 Arkansas whooped up on Old Dominion 86-77. Love their freight system though. Number 12 Miami took down FIU on some state-on-state crime 86-80. And number 2 Purdue x'd out Xavier 83-71. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Off and running on a Tuesday morning edition of RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast. Welcome in on another frigid morning in the Music City. We've got Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. My name is Will Bowling. A difficult exercise ranking the best and the worst in the NFL this week. We'll do our best coming up in 20 minutes. Austin Price of Volquest.com recaps whatever in the world happened to Tennessee in Columbia, Missouri with us at 8:20. You're Not That Guy gives you an opportunity to complain in hour 2 and much, much more on the way for the next 4 hours. It'll fly by, and you can call in to join us at 615-737-1045. What's up, everyone? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? Awake yet?
Fully awake.
Great.
Fully awake.
Great.
I have allergies still, though.
Do
That's
you?
the one thing I can't get rid of. Like sniffling, that like congested feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because the weather keeps switching back and forth, but I've ran into so many people this year that have been like, this is the worst allergies I've had since I've lived in Middle Tennessee.
And Tennessee's already bad for allergies, right? With
Right.
the ragweed and all that good jazz. But it all could also be the bariatric pressure. That messes with my sinuses, too. Once the
betcha.
pressure gets down, it, gets stuck behind your eyes, and then you're sniffling the whole time. So.
Yeah.
My wife's going through the same exact thing right now. She's like, I think I'm getting sick. I'm just
I
like,
know.
I think it's a little bit of sinuses. We really don't know. And what's funny is our oldest, anytime she has this scent in her car, y'all know that Coronado
Oh,
cherry?
yeah.
The Coronado cherry. Oh,
stuff.
my gosh. Amazing stuff. So we've been trying to figure out what's going on. Our oldest, every time, she's like, man, she's got cough medicine in her car because anytime he gets in,
Yep.
he's sneezing or something. And she's just like, I hope it's not the cherry fragrance in the car because she loves it. If y'all ever been around that Coronado cherry, it is phenomenal.
You gave me some of it.
I did.
Yeah.
So
Smells
wait,
good.
You just it's like an oil?
It comes
or
in a canister.
Oh.
And it's one of those types of fragrances. It's just really, it smells amazing. They got other flavors too, but that one is the best. And anytime he's in my car, no sneezing. Anytime he's in one of the other vehicles, no sneezing. Only in her vehicle.
And that's the only one that has the scent.
It's prominent. She really
pushes it up.
Yeah, she really pushes it out there. She's like, I hope I don't have to take it. It's like, yeah, I think you might have to take it out of your car. Because that's the only time he
That's so
sneezes is in her
weird.
vehicle. Yeah.
What
weird.
remedies do you have to get around allergies, Kayla?
None.
Oh. Allow me to share.
You've ran into a person who doesn't usually take much medicine.
So I don't either. But there is a remedy that does not require medicine that does require alcohol.
Okay.
Of course.
Hot toddies are medicinal. I'm serious. No,
Really?
I'm genuinely serious. Like there are people in like voice, in music, in broadcasting who swear by these things, and I am one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I did this 2 weeks ago when I started to get sick, and immediately a day later, done.
Done.
It's
You're
like
fine.
it burned it all out of you.
Literally, all it is bourbon, hot water, lemon juice, and honey.
Oh, that does actually sound good.
All that it is, and it warms you up, and it actually is really good for your voice. Is a lot of it
Mm-hmm.
because it helps your vocal cords. Like the honey in it, like the sweetness of it helps.
Oh, wow.
But it's also just good. It's a good fall/winter drink.
That's what I was going to say. As long as it's not really like, I just hate medicine.
No, yeah,
so that's
these are.
I'd rather do something like that.
I do that all the time, like late at night when I'm starting to feel sick.
Yeah.
I'll like get under the covers and make a hot toddy like that, and I'll wake up
that does sound
just fine.
good.
I don't measure anything though,
Yeah.
so I don't know how to tell you how much bourbon is in
He's
it.
like heavy
I
handed
just eyeball
bourbon.
it. I don't measure anything though, which
I
that
know.
shouldn't surprise
Neither
anyone.
do I.
But I genuinely have never measured anything in a drink one time in my life.
Did y'all's parents used to make y'all take shots when y'all got sick?
Like what type of shots? Like doctor shots? Or
Vodka?
like
Like, no, it wouldn't be like, hey, take a double, quit being a weenie. It wasn't like that, but it was like, I remember it would be some kind of whiskey if your throat hurt or something. They'd pour you like a little half
No.
shot and you'd take it.
Absolutely not.
Maybe it's because I was a whiny little baby and they were like, we got to shut this kid up. We got to turn him up for a little bit.
I heard you could dip like the pacifier in
If they're teething.
Yeah. if
right,
they're teething.
certain things.
Yeah. Wow. You guys lived a wild
Your parents never let you smoke
Goodness
cigarettes?
sakes.
Like, I'm
Have
just
a
kidding. My
cig
mom did
hanging
it.
out your mouth at 2.
Yeah, no, I told you guys the other day, like that whole, hey, go, like my mom used to smoke before she had stopped. And it was one of those, hey, son, go light this for me. And you can't light it without taking the initial starter puff, okay? That was just one of the coolest things. And what's even more wild, maybe you had them too, or they sold them close to you, but the cigarette gum candy?
Oh, everybody had those.
You had,
Oh,
I know
yeah.
I ain't
Oh,
all
yeah.
the way.
I knew it existed, but
I never
tried it.
And they used to market smoking so harder than they do
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. You used to get those little chalky cigarette candy gum things and just blow smoke out of it. What were they doing to us in those days?
Trying to make money.
Trying to make money, yes. Yeah.
And it worked.
And it did work, Kayla. Trying to make money out here. That was one of the wildest things I think of our childhood.
They did it in broadcasting way back in the day. Like Edward R. Murrow, like on set, would just smoke. And you have
Yep.
his ashtray right there.
Right.
In a broadcast.
In a broadcast.
Like, wait, let me take a puff real quick. And in news today.
On airplanes, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know if they make cars with ashers in
Trays
them anymore.
anymore.
Ashtrays in
Good
them
question.
anymore.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Different
So
world,
weird.
man. Way different world.
Yeah, I never had any whiskey shots just to shut me up as a kid.
Me either.
It wasn't to shut you up. It was to like
great.
numb your throat up. But I think it was also to test to see if you were really sick. But she didn't think that I was a savage like that. She didn't think that I was going to be like, yeah, my throat hurts. I think I need a shot.
She didn't know
Right.
your style, Bert.
Yeah, she thought you merely adopted the darkness, but it turns out you were born in it.
I was molded by it.
Yeah, you were.
Yes, indeed.
I
man.
would go, I think it was Tylenol when I was a kid. I would take Tylenol and I would go from being deathly ill to being jumping off the walls. And there was no in between. I would immediately be like, oh, I'm good. But I was not only good, I was better than good. I was a little too good.
Right?
From Tylenol?
Made no sense. Yeah,
Whatever it
that's
has
all
in
was.
it,
And then it would wear off and I would just,
That's weird.
Oh my gosh, I'll never forget the first time. You don't even hear about this anymore. The first time and only time I caught chicken pox.
Oh, ugh.
Did you have them?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Worst set of them.
Oh, I
Still have
thought,
scars.
man, I was scratching so bad, man. That was one of those things that everybody went through as a kid. Now you don't even hear about it.
for me, it was swine flu when I
You
was in
had
7th
swine
grade.
flu?
Yeah.
You're the first person I know that had swine flu.
A couple of us had it. Yeah.
What one was that?
I couldn't go on that was H1N1.
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't go on our school trip that day because I had swine flu.
Dang.
It was a kind of a bittersweet thing because then I didn't have to miss any homework that was given that day. But
right?
I couldn't go to the lake with all my friends.
How long did that last?
Mm.
Swine flu.
I was out 3 school days and then a weekend.
Oh.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
pretty.
pretty
That's
legit.
pretty strong.
A pretty dangerous farm animal disease. You know what I
Right?
mean? Out of all the mad cow, swine flu, all that stuff.
There's a lot of
Boy,
those.
I remember when that one hit. Man, Kyle, I was a child when that hit the first time. It was like early 2000s, I think, late 90s. I was like, oh my gosh, we got foot and paw all this time. It was crazy, man.
sounds
Everything
awful.
that had. It does. Hell no.
Mad cow disease.
Mad cow.
Jeez.
We can't eat burgers no more.
Dang.
Did y'all's parents used to lie to you about stuff like that? My dad told me if I stared at the fire too long, I'd pee in the bed. My mom
Weird
used to
stuff.
my mom used to give me Smarties and tell me they were headache medicine. Be like, "Oh, Mama, I got a headache." She'd like pull some Smarties out and be like, "Oh, take that, you'll be fine." Be like, "Oh man, I need another headache medicine,
Right?
Mama. My head hurt."
Give me another pack.
Yeah, all it was she was giving me was a sugar rush so that you could forget.
Sure.
The placebo thing, not even really a placebo, but I hated whipped cream when I was a little kid irrationally, which is stupid
still
because
do.
whipped cream is one of my favorite things in the world.
Absolutely
It is good.
not.
And
You
I,
don't like it?
my brother and sister tried to give me a bowl of ice cream with whipped cream on it, and I like cried and complained. It was like, I don't want this. I just want ice cream. And so then they go back inside, they flip it upside down, and they gave it to me. And I was like, this is really good. What'd you do to this?
Oh my
True story.
goodness.
They genuinely just
See?
flipped it upside down and put the whipped cream on the bottom. And I was like, this is great. What's different about this?
See, Wes and Claire are like me and my older brother with our
Savages.
younger sisters and brother. Yeah, we used to body slam them off of dressers and everything.
Okay, that wasn't happening.
Yeah, like we power bombs, like
yeah.
all the rest of the moves. Like,
As small as I was,
do
you
not
would have
try
broken
this at
me.
home.
we were
Yeah.
flipping.
Do as we say, not as we do. Children of Nashville.
We made our little brother jump off the dresser one day.
Oh.
Well, I mean, they're younger. They're they'll listen to
I didn't
you.
do it.
I did.
Yeah, I was
Wait,
too
you
big.
weren't the younger
yeah,
one, were
I
you?
was too big then, Kayla.
So you wouldn't even
say?
do it.
Heck no.
They'd try, but no cigar.
That was hilarious.
615-737-1045, our number. Streaming live on 1045 The Zone TV. You can join the F&M Bank chat on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. You're Not That Guy coming up at 7:20. At 8:20, Austin Price of Volquest. No Ron Slay this morning. He's jet setting around the country.
Yeah.
Where in
Yeah.
the world is Ron Slay? We will get back with him next week. So a big Titans conversation at 9:20 about what the Titans can learn from contending teams around the NFL. And guys, last night I think we might need to subtract one contending team in the NFL. We'll get to that in top 7, bottom 3 coming up next, ranking the best and worst in the NFL. I don't think you'll be hearing about the Buffalo Bills in that. More on that coming up as well. As we continue in hour 1 on RKW.
Hey, it's Kayla Anderson. Did you know the future of joint pain relief is here, and it is QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine, and it's amazing stuff. If you've been told that steroids or surgery are your only options, that is not the case at all. Get a second opinion. Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. And I'm talking about long-lasting relief, right? Not just something that's good for a week or two. QC Kinetics does not mask the pain. These treatments go to the very root of the problem. They use concentrated healing properties placed directly in your joint, and that restores and repairs that damaged tissue. So if you want to live your life pain-free, not have the pain in the knees, hips, shoulders, back, be able to do stuff this winter with your kids or just activities, sporting events, you don't need drugs, downtime, or surgery. You just need QC Kinetics. Call them for a free consultation today. It's 615-249-4024. That's QC Kinetics at 615-249-4024.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone, streaming live on Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. And coming up in just over a half hour, we've got your chance to head to see Tennessee and Georgia.
Wow.
Despite the loss on Saturday, guys, that is still a hot ticket.
And Dolly Parton's going to be there, like
That's
we
right.
said. I saw her tweet, whatever it is. She is like, how do you not love that woman?
The Queen of Tennessee.
Oh, my God.
Maybe of the United States.
She's amazing.
Say, you shorten her, man. I thought it was the U.S. at this point.
Can she be president?
I'd vote.
I would too.
Absolutely.
What does she have coming out that she's doing so much pub for?
That's a good
Heck,
question.
what hadn't she done?
I know.
Like, is she
Children's books,
is
movies.
she serious about to announce she's going to run for president? Because that's the only thing she hadn't done.
Right?
That's the only thing I honestly think of. Like, she is.
She has her album coming out.
I'd buy it. I'm buying it.
Is this the rock and roll album?
Maybe
or is
it is.
this-
Rockstar released on Friday.
Oh, my gosh.
So this album has like every song is featuring another very famous artist.
It will
Cool.
also be released in theaters for fans starting on tomorrow.
Eras
Wednesday.
tour who?
Yeah, right?
Right?
Yeah, we got Dolly at home. I don't need this.
That's right.
I mean,
Dolly
for
Parton
Dolly.
walks so Taylor Swift could run.
Yeah.
You doggone right, man. She's got everybody on this album.
Really?
Steven Tyler, Kid Rock,
I'm assuming she's got her goddaughter
Chris
Miley.
Stapleton.
Cyrus.
Miley's on
Yeah.
here. Yes.
Very cool.
Debbie Harry. I know all these people are. Lizzo's on here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We might
Paul
have to play a
McCartney.
couple of her songs then if we get access to them.
Well, she got 30 of them. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
She's got 30 of them.
Let's go, Dolly.
615-737-1045, the number. We'll get to top 7 and bottom 3. Surprised, guys, first that a lot of people think the Titans are going to be in the bottom 3.
Well,
Well, a lot of people
Well.
absolutely
They're not in
love to
mine.
do that. Well,
Are they
in
in
a-
y'all's?
In a sicko mode. No, they're not in mine. Not in mine this week, but in a sicko mode, I can see how some people just say, just throw us to the wolves. That's essentially what they're suggesting.
I mean, the Titans are closer to the bottom 3, certainly, than they are the top 7.
I'll tell you who's not in the top 7 this week.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes.
Were they
You
in
took
yours
some heat
last?
for that last
I took
week.
some heat for that last week.
Okay.
No,
No,
they were
they
not
weren't.
in Ramon's top 7
I had
last
them in
week.
mine.
I put Cleveland in last week over them.
that's right.
And
That's right.
Sorry, Bert, I understand that's a soft spot.
That's what surged them over us, man. Was your presentation of the top 7?
Yeah, I know, man.
Look at that.
That's on me. I take that Baltimore loss.
Hey, no, it's fine because who hadn't been in top 7 all
just
week?
looks like the McGruff dog that
all
laughs.
year. Where's the Steelers been? Y'all are somehow in the playoffs, but not in the top 7.
I was that close to putting them in this week, man.
Oh, you should do that then. Go ahead and jinx them.
Look, I gotta have some integrity about what I do on this show, okay? If I gotta put that team in here, it needs to be legit. All I'm saying, second in the AFC North, man. I put a team that's not second in the AFC North in there. Now it is what it is. I'm fair with this.
Yeah.
That's why when a certain someone, Danny, called me out about not having Cincinnati in there, I had to just double down and be like, this is the way. And then he saw that
These
through
are
a
my
rookie.
picks.
Yeah, he saw it through a rookie in Houston. At home.
At home. Eek.
Could be my team.
Shall we start at 30 or 32?
It
for
was
the
your
bottom
team.
3?
Your team lost to the Texans. It could be your team.
Not at home
It
to the
was.
Texans. Not at home to the Texans, no.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, Will. I had
jeez.
to lay some correctable law
He's
down.
dragging me down,
With the
Will, to
walk
lift
down.
himself up. That's all.
Let's start at 30. Number 30 team in the NFL, Ramon Foster.
Giants got smoked.
Dang.
Like by Dallas, man. They're a bad team. Dabo might be out.
Yeah.
Dayball may be out, man.
Dabo Sweeney
Yeah.
and Brian Dable.
Right?
Dable.
Could you-
Actually, Brian Dable's so bad that Dabo Sweeney's going to be fired for having a name that sounds similar.
Yeah.
Tyler in Spartanburg's going to be doing cartwheels in his living room.
One thing we're noticing, the letter D in terms of names, especially for Titans at left tackle, let's just get away from that at some point.
Dillard, David. Well, no. By the way,
Dillard,
never mind. That's
Daly.
the Titans conversation later. Nate
Dylan Radens,
got a decision
See?
to make. Yeah, Dylan Radens. Ugh.
Dayball, bad
Dayball.
coaches. So I was really tempting to put Titans at 30, but then I realized at some point they need to be knocked down. They haven't won a game on the road. They are, in my words, I've seen them digress. So they're going down the ranks here. but I'm going to have to put New England at that spot because they have been pathetic. And there's just no life there. I mean, Mac Jones, is he the starter? Is he not the starter at this point moving forward? Bill isn't going to let us know that. It's just, there's no hope in terms of New England. At least for the Titans, there's a little bit of hope, right? And you've got Will Levis at quarterback now. He makes things a little more exciting. I still have hope that they can win a few more games. New England, lost.
No dice.
Yeah, I think there are at least 4 teams who are certainly worse than the Titans, easily. And those teams, 3 of them in the bottom 3, and then Chicago is worse than the Titans. They're not in my bottom 3, but you got Tyson Bagent playing quarterback, and when Justin Fields has been in there, he's not looked comfortable this season. I'm going to go Giants at 30 as well. Guys, they were outgained by the Cowboys by 468 yards. That is the largest yardage differential in the NFL in the last 44 years. Tommy DeVito is not a great quarterback. He looks like a guy living with his parents, because he is.
Third stringer.
Did you see his dad, though?
No.
On camera, he clearly saying the words, "That's your 4th down play call?"
Wow.
Just in slow motion. It was great. Robert Walsh, number 30.
I've got the Patriots here. I feel like the bottom 3 are all. In other years, you could say, like, no, they're just a bad team. They are just bad. But New England and my other 2 they've just been marred by injuries, man. This defense could probably prop them up and win them a couple games, but they lost Matthew Judon, their number 1 overall pick, in Christian Gonzalez, and their number 1 receiver in Kendrick Bourne. I think the Patriots could be a lot better, but they're marred by injury now, and now the whole coaching change is circling the building, so it's just rare air for them to be in. Patriots at 30.
I don't understand this just Eeyore mentality about the Titans. Got a tweet from Scooby on Twitter. Don't sugarcoat it. The Titans belong in the bottom 3.
They could beat all the teams in the bottom 3.
Yes, there are a lot of really, really bad teams this year.
Well, we'll see, because one of them they're playing soon.
That's very true.
Number 31.
31 to me is New England. Go to Germany and lay an egg. Mac
Easily.
Jones is terrible. Second time being benched on the year. That's an abysmal offense and defense. They're averaging 14 points a game, y'all. 6 points on the weekend. They look bad, and I don't feel sorry at all the way they tormented all of the NFL in my playing career. Screw them. I hope they bandwagon a super light right now. I hope they torch it. I hope Kraft and Belichick fight it out, okay, respectfully, with gloves on and with a soft mat. But, yes, that's how I feel about them. I'm happy to see this.
I've got New York Giants. No surprise there. We just talked about them. Down to their 3rd-string quarterback. There's no leadership in the building. Brian Daboll goes from being coach of the year in 1 year to being the worst coach, it seems like, in the league. So they're worthy of 31 for me.
I'll take New England at 31. Bill Belichick now, without Tom Brady as his quarterback, is 81-95
Not good.
as the head coach of the New England Patriots.
I got the Panthers at 31. I think that their offense could come around. I don't think it's the worst offense in the league, but it's not far off. Panthers at 31.
Number 32.
Panthers for me. No life about them whatsoever. Whether
Crazy.
injuries, whatever case may be. Bryce, I saw him play. That looks
It looks rough.
It looks rough. That
Yeah.
looks rough. I know you got to be a number 1 quarterback going to a real bad team, but he actually looks bad being around them people.
And that's probably the worst spot he could have went to, just because now you're seeing the size and everything, and everybody's going to start bringing that up
Yep.
because he's getting hit. And I got Carolina at 32-2. They've only won 1 game. And let's just hope and pray, guys, when they come here in 2 weeks, that they don't get their second victory.
Well, yeah.
I'm mark that down. 6:30 on what's today? The 14th.
14th.
Yep.
32, Carolina. Easily.
Yeah.
I got the Giants. I think they're just dead in the water. There's no way they can rebound. Every member of their offensive line has been hurt at some time. They've got Tommy DeVito, who I'll talk more about, and you're not that guy. And honestly, the guy I feel the worst for is Saquon Barkley, who wanted to come back to this team, who wanted to help them get over the hump, and now he's just stuck in the island of misfit toys, playing with dudes who are undrafted free agents and guys that were in the lowest level of college football because that's all they can get to play.
Yep.
And not to mention their defense, which Wink Martindale kind of reshaped last year, has not been able to come into form. You saw them kind of grab a bunch of bottom roster guys and like Isaiah out of Clemson and Arizona. I can't remember his name now.
Simmons.
Isaiah Simmons. They
Simmons.
grabbed guys like that all offseason trying to fit this defense, and none of them have panned out. I think the Giants are easily the worst team in the league.
Number 7.
Dallas. If they can get their defense to consistently match their offense, they could be real strong deep in the playoff contenders, man. They went and did the thing to the Giants. Lost to the Eagles was only a 1-score loss. I think they're very fitting for a 7th overall team.
They had a great performance, obviously, played a really bad team. I just don't know what the Dallas Cowboys are at this point because it is so up and down, right? At points, I'm like, that's a dominant team. At other points, I'm like, how do you lose that game? I am going to keep Jacksonville in my top 7 this week, and I know it might be a slap on the wrist, but they played a 49ers team that was coming off a bye. They played at San Francisco. You knew that this Niners team was going to be ready to go chomp at the bit after losing 3 straight. So I know it was only 3 points, but I think it was just one of those games for the Jags, so I'll keep them in my top 7.
Fair enough. Number 7 for me, I think I'm going to have the weirdest top 7, but I don't care. Cleveland, for me. 4 wins in the last 5 games that included season-ending injuries to Nick Chubb, Jack Conklin, and now Deshaun Watson, who's got another shoulder thing going on. I think they're just better off moving on from him, weirdly enough. But give me Cleveland at 7. A close loss to Baltimore, who you'll see I respect quite a bit in my top 7, unfortunately, is enough reason, I think, to take them seriously still.
I've got Dallas at 7. Dallas is that video game boss that beats you up when you start the game, and then you finally get powered up and realize, oh, why did they beat me up so bad when I was level 1? Mm-hmm. They can beat up on these Giants. It's no problem. But when they come up against the 49ers or an Eagles or any other power in the NFC, I don't think that they'll be superior, but they looked really good this weekend, so I've got Dallas at 7.
Number 6.
Miami. They come bye week. Number 1 in the AFC East is the way I justify them right now. What was that last game? Wasn't it a loss they had? But
they did, yeah.
Yeah, I put them up there. I could have easily put Cleveland in still, but Cleveland's 3rd in the AFC North.
Okay. I did put Baltimore in this one. They didn't slide all the way out, obviously, because they're a really good team. Put them at 6. I think that's one of those games. Look, the NFC, I'm having a blank here, North, is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
NFC North, right?
NFC North.
AFC North.
AFC North.
AFC North.
Yes, yeah. AFC North is difficult. And every team right now, I think, is going to beat up on each other in that division. It's one of those games, right, that you kind of expected there could be stuff that happened like this. And so I think Baltimore is technically the better team, but they didn't have the better performance on Sunday, so they're at 6 for me.
I like it. Number 6, Houston Texans.
Whoa,
Houston
baby.
Texans. If this is a power ranking, right now, the Houston Texans are a top 7 team in the National Football League. The way C.J. Stroud lit it up against Tampa, the way C.J. Stroud beat a very good Bengals team in Cincinnati, knocking them out of my top 7, hit 544 yards against the Bengals and one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. Houston, 6.
I've also got Houston at 6. I like what they did. I want to see them do it against a good team that is not hurt, but you still got to respect what they did against 2 teams that are probably currently going to be playoff teams.
Yep.
Or I guess maybe not.
Very justifiable right there.
Number 5.
Baltimore, actually. Baltimore is a good team. They ended up losing bad interception, tip balls, pick sixes is what drowned them this past weekend. Baltimore's still good. Last week they were number 1, so they actually slid down to 5 to me. So that's why I justify Baltimore.
Yeah, and I put Cleveland at 5 this week just because the recent win over Baltimore. I think Baltimore's a really good team, obviously, you guys. And you kind of said it, Will. Even without Deshaun Watson, that has been a steady, consistent player there because he hasn't. He's been injured. They're still finding ways, and a lot of that has to do with that incredible defense that Jim Schwartz is trotting out there every week. So right now, and this could slip again because that division is so loaded, but they'll be at 5 for me this week.
I like it. Yeah, I'm going to go Baltimore at 5 as well. I know, and Deshaun Watson, obviously good enough to win the game, but again, it's almost like the clarity of just knowing who your quarterback is for all 4 quarters would almost help them. But Baltimore's still impressive. One of those losses, it happens. Divisional game, weird game. It is interesting, though, with the Ravens having the divisional losses, because now you've lost to Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
Yep.
That division is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Bert, number 5.
I've also got the Ravens here, but I'm giving Jim Schwartz zero credit. He has got the Monstars on defense. I could call plays for those guys, and they would win. Everybody on that defense is good. There is not one scrub where you can be like, that guy is a world beater. I can't give Jim Schwartz any credit because he's playing with a stacked deck. The Ravens at 5.
Quickly, number 4.
San Fran, bounce back, blowout.
Okay.
Detroit Lions.
I'll go Kansas City 4.
Okay.
Still have Detroit at 3 with the head-to-head win.
I got the Lions at 4.
Okay. Number 3.
Detroit at 3.
San Fran at 3 for me. Just flip-flop those with Ramon.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit is 15-4 in their last 19 games.
Wow.
Insane.
That's pretty good.
Legitimate contenders. I got them 3rd.
49ers at 3 for me.
And then 1 and 2. Interesting. Number 2.
KC at 2.
Yep, me too.
Why that high?
KC,
Yeah.
consistently offensively good. Well, no, defensively.
Defensively.
Defensively, they're good. I'm
I was
thinking
gonna
about
say,
Philly. Yeah.
13th
Yeah.
in the
The reason
NFL
I
in scoring.
put Kansas City, the reason I put Philly is at 1 because I trust their defense way more than I trust Kansas City's offense right now. So Kansas City offense may catch up. Patrick Mahomes is the wizard of all things until he proves he's not. That's the reason I have him up there because I believe they can make it happen offensively. Defensively is the biggest shocker to me, and that actually may be their best surprise going into the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes said it is the best defense in the league. Now, that's his opinion, obviously.
Yeah.
There's some good ones out there, but they're playing really good defensively. Things they have to try to start to figure out with the offense, absolutely, but they always seem to do it. And if you're going to have a chance to do it, it's going to be because Patrick Mahomes is there.
The
So.
wizard.
Yeah, 13th in scoring. They'll figure it out. They haven't yet. But because of how good San Francisco has been when it is totally healthy, I've got them number 2. That is a statement win in Jacksonville against a very good football team.
Where'd you put Kansas City?
I have Kansas City 4th.
Okay, I missed that.
Detroit 3rd.
Okay.
So give me San Fran number 2.
Truthfully, it should be because Detroit beat them.
And the number 1, Philly?
Yeah.
Everyone?
Yeah, number 1, Philly.
Okay. There you go.
That's it.
Top 7, bottom 3. So we'll see who else in the AFC South joins or exits or enters either side of the list. And again, just surprised people are
You
so
had
down
Houston
on the
and
Titans.
Jacksonville in your top 7.
I did not have Jacksonville in my top.
Okay.
seven.
All right.
I did.
You had
I had
Jacksonville.
them at 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have Miami in mine either.
I didn't either. Just because they haven't played in their last game was a big loss.
They got grace because they're first in the AFCs.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah.
And I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
615-737-1045, the number coming up. Monday Night Football last night. Do we owe Russell Wilson an apology?
Whew, never.
We'll discuss that coming up next.
Let's ride.
What's going on? It's Will Bowling here from my friends at Lee Company. You deserve all the comforts of home, including endless hot water at your fingertips. Tankless water heaters powered by new recirculation systems save energy, money, time, and space. And Lee Company has a limited time offer of $750 off a tankless water heater when you purchase a recirculation system. And to make the heater even sweeter, qualified buyers receive 18 months of 0% financing. And you got to take advantage of this offer today. Call my friends at Lee Company at 615-567-1000 or go to leecompany.com/promotions to take $750 off a tankless water heater. And look, when you're up this early in the morning, the weather is this cold. It's in the 20s and 30s for the foreseeable future when you're up early in Middle Tennessee. Make sure you've got endless hot water at your fingertips, courtesy of Lee Company. Qualified buyers receive 18 months of 0% financing and a limited time offer of $750 off a tankless water heater when you purchase a recirculation system. That number again, 615-567-1000, leecompany.com/promotions. That's where you need to go. Lee Company, all you need. Coming up in 15 minutes, we've got your chance to head to Knoxville this weekend to see Tennessee and Georgia. Give you the details on how to do that coming up at 7 o'clock. 615-737-1045 as we hit the NFL headlines this morning. Guys, the Buffalo Bills have got problems.
Yes.
Last night. I was talking about this at the break. They, I think, are the most unpredictable team in the National Football League right now, and they are 500.
That's crazy to think, right? With all that talent.
Troy Aikman mentioned it last night on the broadcast, and he made a good point that home primetime games, when you are a good team or want to be considered a good team, are a must win. You cannot consider yourself a good football team if you cannot win in primetime in your home stadium.
Who said that? You said
Troy Aikman said
yes,
that last night.
100%. Well, there is no doubt about that. You get up so much for Monday nights, Sunday nights, and heck, even Thursday night games too, because that's where legends are born. Like, that's where you sell yourself the most. What bigger audience do you have than those primetime games right there at your house?
Yeah.
Oh my, there is no other way to really catapult yourself into the sun other than doing stuff in primetime. Think about it. All the big-time plays you've seen guys making prime time. Von Miller going off in those moments right there. And of course, last night, Josh Allen having to be the guy. Like, why do you have a Monday night game? Josh Allen, you're a main reason because of that. You can't lose. And, of course, having your competitor on the other side be Russ. Now, here we are saying Russ might actually be cooking because you crapped the bed on Monday Night Football, Josh Allen. You can't lose those primetime games at home.
No, and your team, the Steelers, are the best at doing that, at preserving that home field, right? In primetime situations. So that's an example of doing it right. The Bills, I feel like, have been an example, and not in every instance, but they've crapped the bed a couple times.
Yeah.
And this is a team, like I was saying, very talented. They've got a quarterback that we talk about all the time that has been in the race for MVP for the past couple of years at least. And they continue to do this. And I know not every turnover was his fault. They had 4 total turnovers. But when it comes down to it, he's the quarterback. He's turning over the ball. He's going to get the blame, just like Ryan Tannehill did here when they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals.
So I ended up watching some of Suits last night after I realized the game was what it was. You know what happened when I looked in the box score? I saw interceptions by Josh Allen. They didn't give me a story, Kayla. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, he can't have it happen. Like, I know you're 100% correct. We're going to judge it differently, and we should. But for people to just look at his stat line, 4 interceptions. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a hard life to live. Either something has to change because he does this often. These errant throws are just random interceptions, like throwing over the middle for him might not be the game he need to be playing.
Yeah, he is turning the ball over at a rapid rate again this year and leads the NFL with 11 interceptions and 14 turnovers. Now, you're making $258 million. You cannot turn the football over that many times.
You can't.
He's losing them games, you guys. And
He
this is like a team that should be competing at the top right now.
Should, absolutely, man. And again, when you got that franchise guy and you really are trying to push yourself into that Super Bowl era again, and the Bills they're starving for that. And then they drop games to teams they shouldn't, like last night. Like everybody in the moment know they should have beat the Broncos, and this is their second consecutive loss in a row. Like, you can't have this to other AFC teams.
RG3 says a lot of out-of-pocket things on microphones and on the internet, but last night he said the industry talks about Dak's interceptions the way they should talk about Josh Allen's.
That's a good point.
Facts.
Fair?
Yeah.
Yep.
Rare dub for Robert Griffin III. Alvin in Nashville next on the phone lines with us. You can jump in there, 615-737-1045. What's up, Alvin?
How y'all doing?
Good morning.
I didn't get the ring yesterday because too many people calling in. So I'm gonna start off with Chica Congo, whatever his name is, the tight end. The man can't catch a cold. He cannot catch a cold. Maybe you need to get rid of them cats and get a dog so you can get the dog in him. I'm tired of seeing Aaron Brewer. I called him Rudy getting dog walk to the quarterback. I'm tired of seeing that. The defensive coordinator, like, what are we doing? We got rid of Jim Schwartz and we just back to zero again. Defense ain't doing nothing. Just getting tired of seeing it, man. Like, when we gonna see something other than we getting players out that basically not even tier one. We're getting practice players. We're getting walk-on players from college and stuff. Like when we're going to see the real players. Another question I have, I know the draft is far off, but if Brock Bowers is right there in the draft, if he's right there and you get a lineman, a tackle, do you
Uh-oh.
yeah, hold on, Ramon.
Hey,
There we go.
We got the horn.
Alvin, we lost you there for a little bit at the end, but I think the question was if Brock Bowers is there, do you take him over a lineman?
Yep.
Really?
I don't. No, I was saying that's what he said.
all right.
No, I don't, because we've made it clear on this show how many times that you take the best left tackle you can get at that point. In my opinion, you got to fix
I'm
that
with
first.
you. That is a luxury piece. But that is a real good luxury
It is. It
piece.
is. It is, and
We
that's what's
think.
tough.
We think.
We
And a
think.
good tackle class, too.
And a good tackle
Yeah.
class.
Yeah, that's true. But-
Let me think on that one, because I don't want to just give a real quick answer as to what you do in this situation.
I'm not interested in Brock Bowers if you can't block long enough to throw him the football.
That's- Yeah.
I mean, then he just becomes Kyle Pitts in Atlanta.
Yep.
And they do have time
There's
to
our
block for
answer.
him for their quarterbacks.
There's
But
our answer.
Kyle Pitts is being what was talked about in a lot of the same ways that Brock Bowers is talked about now. Pitt's more of a receiver. You feel like, I mean, Brock Bowers may be a guy that can do a little bit more in the blocking, but yeah, I think this team is all linemen.
And you have to
In the
also
first
ask yourself, what's a great year for a tight end? 800 yards.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a great year.
I think this team likes Josh Wiley.
I do too. I think he's going to continue to develop. And let's not completely give up on Chig, guys. It is his second year. He's
Yeah.
digressed, but that doesn't mean he can't come back from it.
That's fair.
He needs to.
Coming up in hour two, You're Not That Guy at 7:20. We'll hear from Mike Vrabel coming up next as he discusses the concern around Will Levis right now in the Titans offense and 2 tickets for Tennessee and Georgia. We're giving away those coming up next.
Hey, Nashville, you've been hearing me talk about Zen Sports, the new sports betting app exclusively in Tennessee the last few months, and I'm excited to share with you some big news. Now, when you sign up for a Zen Sport account, you will receive up to $1,000 no danger first wager. That's right. When you place your first bet in Zen Sports, you can be reimbursed for the amount of your bet up to $1,000 max if the bet loses. And there's even more good news, too. Zen Sports is rolling out this brand new VIP rewards program. The new VIP rewards program will allow top-tier customers to earn bonuses, comps, and perks. The VIP program is by invite only. So if you feel that your Zen Sport play qualifies for VIP consideration, please check out the program details and apply at zensports.com/VIP. No other sportsbook will offer you a premier sports betting experience with 24/7 top-tier customer support and faster withdrawals like Zen Sport does. So what are you waiting for? Get going and download the app at zensports.com today. Zen Sports betting just got better. But if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet.
What's going on? 7:01. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Monday Night Football last night, Broncos beat the Bills 24-22. Broncos initially missed the game-winning field goal, but a 12-men-on-the-field penalty gave them another chance, and Will Lutz didn't miss twice. Puts the Broncos ahead with no time remaining. Broncos have now won 3 in a row, beating the Chiefs and the Bills in their last 2 weeks. Bills fall to 5-5 and are currently on the outside looking in to the playoffs. The AFC currently is a dogfight. Every team currently in the playoffs, aside from the Texans, are 6-3 or better. Teams on the outside looking in: Bengals at 5-4, Bills and Colts at 5-5, and Chargers at 4-5. Last night in college basketball, number 14 Arkansas whooped up on Old Dominion, 86-77. Number 12 Miami took down FIU in some state-on-state crimes, it's 86-80. And number 2 Purdue X'd out Xavier 83-71. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome to your Tuesday morning on RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. Full crew in studio with 2 tickets to Tennessee, Georgia coming up in seconds. We've got Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer, of course, the 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster. My name is Will Bowling. 615-737-1045 is the number. Streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV. That's where you can watch the show and see our beautiful faces for radio on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. How's everyone feeling?
Good.
We're good. I was looking outside because it was so sunny yesterday. It was like you woke up from a loss. At least you had the sunshine. Looks a little bit more overcast today, folks.
It is a little chilly outside.
Yeah.
We just hit the balcony a second ago. It's a little chilly,
Sucked
but
in some breeze.
but it also hits you with the hoodie in the morning.
Yeah.
You can pretty much wear just a light, long shirt in the afternoon. It's that time of the year, Kayla.
I'm excited.
I like this time of the year, but I'm here to tell El Nino gonna get real.
Oh, you love El Nino.
Well, it's also the time of the year for Tennessee to play important football in Neyland Stadium, and we've got your chance to head to Knoxville this weekend for Tennessee, Georgia right now. Be caller number 5 right now at 615-737-1045, and you will be headed to Knoxville for Tennessee, Georgia. 2 tickets to see the Vols and Dogs at Neyland Stadium this Saturday. 615-737-1045.
That's a pretty good giveaway here, guys.
Sure
and
is.
gals.
Yes, it is.
Call in.
That is a nice set of tickets to get right there. And
2
a tough
tickets,
one.
about a $500 or $600 value, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At least.
you can't flip
big
them.
time.
Actually, maybe about $500 each.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I'm pretty sure it's probably close to that this weekend. I hadn't even checked the prices for this upcoming weekend, but I know it's got to be out of this world. Win, lose, or draw, that's going to be a big one because most things fans going to believe in is hope, and there is still some hope they
You
can
going?
compete. Nah, I got to go to Jacksonville.
Oh, of course.
That's right. You leave Saturday.
Yeah, got to go to Jacksonville.
Those road games.
Lucas
Oh,
Panzica
man.
and I will be in the building doing some
Yes.
updates on the zone throughout the day Saturday.
Nice.
Talking Vols and Dogs. Looking forward to that.
Vols and Dogs.
Only my second trip to Knoxville this year.
You
Yeah.
slacking.
I know I am.
You call yourself a fan.
I call myself the one of 2 radio voices of Nashville Soccer Club is what I
I was
call
going
it.
to say, that's what
That
happens
is
when
why
you
I
get
have not
busy.
been to Knoxville.
It is.
You got to not be
That's
able to
okay.
do some of those things you like to do.
Yeah, the small sacrifices, but that place is going
It's
to
worth
be
it,
rocking.
for sure.
I actually like this time of the year. Those 3:30 games, this time of the year where you get,
Oh, way better.
the sunshine still at the kickoff.
Then it
and
gets
by
dark.
the time, yeah.
You also get an opportunity to watch the games before and after your game
Yeah.
at 3:30. It is the best time slot. And it's also what Tennessee Vanderbilt will be.
I saw that. I'm actually shocked by that one.
Tennessee has been in that time slot with Vandy, I think, 8 straight years now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not on CBS.
Yeah, what
Even
is
though
it?
it's
Just
2:30
ESPN?
Central, it's SEC Network.
Oh, okay.
Tennessee Vandy has been the 3 or 4 o'clock SEC Network game. I genuinely think it's like 8 straight years.
Dang.
It's clockwork.
Yeah.
This ticket, lower level, Georgia, UT, about 1,000 a seat. Midway through is about what you said, 500. Top row is like 220.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yep. There you go.
I'm
So-
excited to hear Bert's take on everything too. Because
Yeah, he is talking to our winner at the moment.
Yeah, he'll be going. Is he going with Lucas? I think.
I don't know.
I think
Yeah,
that's
I
what
think
Bert Buck said yesterday.
Yeah, he's going to go with Lucas.
This is the weekend where you also just see everyone you went to college with.
On this
Like, I'll be able to catch
Yeah.
up with everybody Saturday. Bert, who is going to Knoxville this weekend?
It is Jonathan.
All right, Jonathan.
Hey,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
Are we
Big
confirmed
J.
that Jonathan
Awesome.
is a Tennessee fan?
Yes, he is a Tennessee fan.
That's even
Perfect.
better.
from Greenbrier.
Greenbrier,
All
stand
right.
up. Let's go.
Okay, then.
Let's
Go
go.
off, Greenbrier. Check y'all
Also,
out.
is it bad that I'm excited to see where y'all partied at? Like, I'm excited. I feel like the
knew that would be the
girlfriend that
top
gets to
thing.
come.
Cool
to
beans,
like,
baby.
okay, cool beans. You let
Cool
me know.
beans.
I'm just ready to be in Neyland. I'm ready to be by the river. I'm ready to be inebriated and surround. And let me tell you something. I know what y'all are thinking. Y'all are thinking Bert is not a Vols fan. He's not from here.
You will
but,
be soon.
But I am, and I promise you that I will do this. Any game that I go to, I have a all-standing rule. I will not sit down. And I will
Wow.
I'll holler for you guys on third down. I'll be quiet on offense. Anything you need, I'm a total pro fan.
Just
Apologies
text
to
him.
whoever's behind you.
Oh, they getting hollered at. I hope it's Betty Sue and Bob or whoever. That picture that Buck puts up every time the Tennessee's mad.
Oh, God.
Oh goodness.
I hope it's some Georgia fan. I hope I get barked at this
That's
weekend.
why you will. That's why I mute Buck during Tennessee games on Twitter. True story. Every single football game. Actually, Titans too. I'll admit that as well publicly. I mute Buck on social media. I cannot stand his in-game tweets.
He's so
I will not
sarcastic.
allow him to rile me up like you rile up your dog before bedtime when you're a kid.
They're like, come on,
Let him do
Dylan,
it.
stop it.
I will not let him do it.
My oldest did that last week. It's like, RJ, he's trying to chill. You about to go to bed. Leave the dog alone, man.
He was
saw
right.
it, yeah.
Yes, Travis did it last night.
he
And I did actually push Red off the bed.
If I had a dog, I would do it every night.
Right?
You would? No, man.
It's fun sometimes.
You
though,
know
when
what
wanna
happens
on
after you get
people's
them riled
nerves.
up? You got to take them outside because
Exactly.
they get excited.
And I did.
You see? You
Good dog
smart.
mom.
Yes, indeed.
There's
man.
no better moment with a dog than just starting running for absolutely no
Yes.
reason, and they just
In a
match
circle.
your energy.
And that's great.
Yes. Red does the circles so much so that he breezes by me. He almost knocked me out yesterday.
Did
like took
he?
out my knees, because
Yeah.
they come like right by you.
Absolutely. No doubt.
Well, Mike Vrabel spoke to the media yesterday, and similarly, media always tries to get Mike Vrabel riled up, not taking the bait yesterday. He was a little snappy at the end when talking about effort of his team, but had an interesting thing to say about Will Levis and protecting him behind this line. This was interesting yesterday from Coach Mike Vrabel.
How would that challenge his development as a player? Like, some of these young quarterbacks, they go out there and they get beat up, and it alters the way.
Yeah,
they
no,
go.
I mean he's texting with Tim last night. He's meeting with Tim and Charles this morning. About where to go with football and about late in the game and ball placement on certain things and zone coverages, and I don't see any discouragement. We have to continue to protect them and develop them and have them help us and let them throw the football, which he did at times, and we left some meat on the bone there by not making some plays for him.
There are examples, Mike, of guys, young guys, promising guys, getting hit a lot early in their career and it kind of having a bearing on their long-term career in terms of making them gun shy or whatever. Do you have any concerns?
I don't, but that's something that has happened in the past, and whoever our quarterback is, we need to protect him. We all understand that for every reason that I just mentioned prior to. So no, I don't have any concern about that. But I don't want to challenge the the idea.
Well, it's challenged. Because it's been happening.
Happened to Marcus Mariota. Got broken by bad offensive lines early in his career after showing promise, like Will Levis did. I mean, they're the two quarterbacks in Titans history to throw for 4 touchdowns in their debuts. The context important on that question, which is why we play that part of it, because it is a nuanced discussion, right, of how do you keep a quarterback from being discouraged about things that are mostly out of his control? Because I think you guys agree, there's not many situations where Will Levis is holding the ball too long. He simply has no time to throw.
He can't finish his throws. And the great questions by TD, and I think PK on that one, by asking those two questions, because you can hear it when TD asked it initially. He was like, yeah, I know where you're headed to. Like, he got to the answer quick because he probably knows that's a true concern, just being honest with you. And those dudes got to be facing the music right now. That was a bad showing this past weekend, and in Pittsburgh also. And there's no other answers other than good play. They got to figure out what good play is and really just go in that foxhole and figure it out for themselves. A lot of what they got going on, though, y'all, if we can be real, is they just simply getting beat up, too. I don't even think it's really a technicality thing, like their techniques and, their coaching style. I did see some MEs. I told you yesterday Chris Hubbard slid too far on Devin White on a play, and that was a sack given right there. Their issue seems to just be getting straight beat up. They're getting pushed back. You can't have that as an offense line. And when your bigs are getting dogged out like that, what does it do for the rest of the small guys on the team?
Well, it doesn't help them, that's for sure.
Don't help at all.
Comment in the F&M Bank chat that says, who is El Nino and can they block for the Titans? Because right now, defenders are raining
Bring 'em in.
all over Will Levis.
Right?
He's drowning in El Nino.
He's going to be left out in the cold.
We need to trade for
Yeah.
El Nino. Cash considerations for El Nino to play left tackle.
Whatever it takes.
Coming up next, you're not that guy. 615-737-1045. Complain about anyone or anything in your week. That's coming up next as Hour 2 continues on RKW.
Hey, it's Kayla for the Wang Vision Institute. They do everything in terms of eye health extremely well, including LASIK surgery, but they're now offering intense pulse light treatments as well. And you're wondering, well, what is that exactly? It's a photofacial treatment, rejuvenating the skin. Maybe you're seeing that sun damage, some of those dark spots appear now that you're getting older. That's what this is here to help you with. Treatments can also even out the skin tone and texture, as well as dealing with issues like hyperpigmentation. So for more information on intense pulse light treatments, along with all the other services I mentioned about eye health care, you can visit wangvisioninstitute.com today. When it comes to this IPL treatment, 20 to 30 minutes to perform, then you're out the door. I went in just a few weeks ago. Simple treatment, non-invasive. To learn more, and also if you want a free online vision seminar, that happens every Tuesday. So today at 6:45 p.m., you can RSVP, schedule that free consultation at wangvisioninstitute.com. Your eyes and skin will thank you for the long-lasting results.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045. The number to complain right here with us. Time for your Not That Guy coming up in just a moment. One thing we never complain about, that's 8th and Roast coffee. I have switched this week to being a black coffee drinker. And I'm enjoying it.
For real. Like you're going to stay that way.
Because I keep forgetting to buy creamer to bring in to the station.
Well, that works too.
So first it was not by choice. Now it is by choice.
It's a good thing.
The 8th and Roast coffee has enough
What'd he say?
flavor to it as well that you don't need cream in it. It's perfect, just the way it is.
Yep. Exactly.
Bruno Mars, just the way you are.
Just the way.
Go by Charlotte, 8th Avenue, the airport, or the Broadview in Midtown to pick up your cup of 8th and Roast this morning. Brightens up a gloomy day.
Or if you're about to catch a flight, listen to us on the way to the airport. 2 locations inside BNA, baby.
That's right.
Yeah, I do it every time. I never miss out on an 8th and Roast before a flight.
See what I'm saying? You're a real one.
Get you flowing.
Last time I took a flight like that, it's been a while, I feel like.
What do you mean? Oh, like an
In the
actual,
airport.
a
Yeah,
normal
going
flight,
through the-
Ramon?
yeah.
One where you don't walk up
normal
the stairs
flight?
straight to the plane.
Hey, well, being with
I've
this,
never done the
bragging
latter.
camp going.
being with this Titans team, man, there is a lot of luxuries that come along with it. One of them is not waiting in traffic to go to the airport.
Yeah, amen to that. I'd take that
Golly.
any
And then
day
they
of the week.
randomly select you to get checked or not checked. And man,
Oh, wow.
hey, I that's why I wrote an article about 10 years ago and called it NFL Fantasy Land. There's only one other entity that lives like that, and that's the president for the most part. Although the Bucks ownership was leaving the stadium, they park underneath, and you know how you know it was them? Maybach, Mercedes,
Sure.
Lexus, driver car, and they were pulling out. And I was like, I told Philip Noel, that's old money right there.
They're going to
They
that jet.
were no, that jet,
Just those
and,
kind of cars.
those
Oh, yeah.
types of
Those types of
cars,
cars.
and they did have a police escort. That's how I knew it was
There you go.
ownership.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Also landing in Florida too at their private area where you land at.
Yeah.
So many private jets there. I was
Yeah.
like, this is Florida.
Because the area, yeah.
Tampa, I was like, this is Florida.
Load up the phone lines for You're Not That Guy at 615-737-1045. Hit the music, Bert. And you can join us at 615-737-1045 in the F&M Bank chat as well on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch.
Twitch, please.
Who's leading it off this morning?
I'll lead this
Yeah.
one off. You got it?
No,
or
I got
not?
it
I'll
last
lead
week,
this
so
one
you
off.
go for it.
No, I mean, like, you gonna be like, I don't want to be like,
You
you.
Swing
the Ramon Foster.
batter.
Here we go, man. This is good. I actually posted something similar on my Instagram the other day telling it was a turkey sitting on Santa saying, hey, be cool, fat boy. It's not your turn. You feel me? And that's where I am right now because here is a time of the season where a lot of people are getting themselves ready for Thanksgiving, right? The holiday season, family feasting, if you want to call it that, okay? And I'm seeing a lot of people around Hendersonville, Nashville with their Christmas lights on already. Restaurants already got them, the icicle lights coming down their businesses and whatnot, man. Hey, I keep telling y'all, you got to let the holiday season work itself out. Why are you in a hurry to get to Christmas to spend all this money, then complain about it next year? Man, I spent too much on Christmas. Do you know why? Because you're too eager. You go into all these little shops and buy all these trinkets, get these toys, and your kid only going to play with a box. And then you put lights on your house, okay? There's no room for this, okay? Take your time. If you're going to put your lights up, unplug that plug and let them stay off till after Thanksgiving, okay? That's all I'm asking, okay? Let us have this family feast this holiday season. So for the folks that already got their lights up, the blue ones, the red ones, the white ones up, Bert, hit them with it real quick, man. Thank you. There it was.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. I figured you appreciate that one too, Will. I know you're a big
Absolutely.
time family feast holiday guy.
I love Thanksgiving more than any other day of the year. So, my You're Not That Guy is Christmas.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Because if you were an Arkansas football player over the weekend, you were celebrating Christmas far too soon. I don't know if you guys saw this on social media. In the locker room of Arkansas's crazy loss to Auburn at home, somebody put Polar Express on the TV.
What?
So much so where Sam Pittman, had to admit that he's never seen Polar Express yesterday when speaking to the media and said, I haven't seen Polar Express, so I don't have any thoughts on the movie. I've addressed it with the young man already. He made a mistake, came in, and was sorry for it. You are not allowed to celebrate Christmas in the locker room of a beat-down loss to a bad SEC West team. Christmas in Arkansas, you are not that guy.
There we go.
Dude, that's the fact that he had to address it gets me.
Absolutely.
That's
I'm
incredible.
with that. I'm with that.
Especially since Sam Pittman would probably be the best SEC coach to play Santa Claus.
Oh,
man.
yeah. He got the belly
Great
and
point.
everything.
Absolutely.
Would have been Charlie Weiss back in the day.
Yeah.
Just
You could put your whole family on his lap to tell him what you want for Christmas.
As long as you bring
Will.
him a packet
Oh
of
my!
Oreos.
Did anybody get the license plate of that car? Jesus.
Bert, do you want to go or do you want me to?
Oh, you go ahead. It's fine.
Okay.
Oh, Will.
So, mine's an obvious one. And, it had me actually thinking who really is not the guy in the situation. But because I always feel like when you are a head coach of a certain caliber and you are hired to do a certain job at a certain university that you get paid a lot of money to do, you need to do your job. And you're getting 5-star recruits year in and year out, and you still continue to not do your job. Jimbo Fisher was just fired from A&M a few days ago after he and his team beat Mississippi State, right?
Boat race.
But that didn't matter because he has kept this program in neutral for a very long time. Since joining them in 2018, 9-4, 8-5, 9-1, 8-4, 5-7. 6-4 to start. It's not good enough, guys. With what you have at your fingertips, it's not good enough. It's not even close. Mind you, the development never happened there with several players. And now he's getting paid. This is the part where he is that guy, I guess, for getting money. But now he's getting $19.4 million within 60 days. 7.27 within 120, and then through 2025 to 2030, 7.27 million per year. Unfreaking believable, robbing the university, but at the same time, they hired him. But Jimbo, you're just not that guy.
There it is.
I think it was something like he got $2.3 million per SEC win.
Wow.
In his career at Texas A&M. Pretty good.
Hey.
Not bad. Mine has to do with Tommy DeVito. Over the last week, we found out some things about the new Giants quarterback, mainly that he still lives with his parents. And a lot of media outlets decided to use this to throw rocks at Tommy DeVito. And I'm here to say, if you're getting mad at Tommy DeVito for still living with his parents, you are not that guy. I would do anything to move back in with my mama. Let me get your number one. He talked about coming home every day. His bed is made. His laundry's folded. His dishes are done. He's got chicken cutlets out the wazoo. Are you kidding me? My mom can't even cook that well, and I wish that I was still living with her, let alone having an Italian mother. His mom's probably whipping it up in the kitchen, and everybody's like, he still live with his mama. He's never going to get a date. Well, he's going to have an endorsement from a breadcrumb company in no time for those chicken cutlets, and he's going to come home to veal. He's going to be supporting his whole family. So if you're mad at Tommy DeVito for living at home, one, you never saved a lot of money when you moved out from college, did you? And two,
well done.
Oh, well
Very
done.
nice. Very nice.
Well done.
I saw Diana Rossini of The Athletic put on Twitter
Oh,
about
gosh.
this. Said, well, I'm paraphrasing, but basically said single guys in New Jersey living with their parents is why I didn't get married until I was 37.
it's a large
she
part of
said.
the Italian culture. It's a huge part. In Italy, a lot of those guys stay living with their parents well into their 20s, well into their 30s. Like if my dad wouldn't have kicked me out, I would have stayed the whole time.
See, that's the problem right there.
That-
We kick our kids out too quick, and then we wonder why they got to borrow money all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was eating and living and drinking for free because I was taking everything from his fridge. You know what I mean? So he's like, why is my gin freezing? Gin does not freeze.
Oh, no.
Goodness sakes.
I don't know what to tell you, Dad. It's just maybe you're just getting subpar,
Right?
subpar
getting-
Bombay,
I'm
man.
getting that bottom shelf stuff.
You better get some good Tanqueray next time, man. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you should test it at the store.
I grew up with Tanqueray and tonic.
It is great because right now I'm so hooked on The Sopranos that late windows or non-Titans windows of NFL games right now, I'll just throw on NFL Red Zone on my laptop and watch The Sopranos on the TV. And you feel like you're in the same Sopranos universe when Tommy DeVito's playing quarterback for the New York Giants. It's not a good Italian accent.
You'll
don't
get
talk
there.
like that. You
I am
better
enjoying
deliver
it.
us a pizza. You hear me?
Oh, God.
I can't wait till you get to a certain part
Extra
and we can just
large.
start talking about my favorite one-liners. Like I don't want to spoil anything, but Chrissy just gets himself into so many situations that are unbecoming of a man of his stature, and it's incredible. Just a great show all around. I'm just so happy you're watching
Me too.
Sopranos.
I will probably get to the season 1 finale tomorrow.
Wow.
I'm on episode 11 right now of season 1.
I hate when people say this, but I really do think season 1 is my favorite season.
Really?
It's just so there's not a bunch of pressure from the outside. Like it's not they're not trying to impress anybody. They're just trying to come in and put on a good show. You know what I mean?
Some of the effects are so funny of just like the punching noises.
Oh, wait till so Tony's mother passed away in real life, but they still needed her for the show.
Ugh.
You'll know the episode
The
when you see
worst
it.
character in the show.
I'm glad you think
Oh,
so.
my gosh. Tony Soprano's mom is one of the worst characters in television.
AJ gets pretty unbearable.
No,
was so-
AJ's the worst, man.
Oh, really?
He's just a little whiner.
He's young enough right now where,
Oh, he gonna be like that as a youth.
anyway. 615-737-1045. I guess AJ Soprano is not that guy. Anthony Jr. Come here, Anthony Jr.
See, that's a good
Where's
Tony's
my
mom.
coffee at?
There was also Carmela.
Boo.
Oh, boo! That was not Carmela.
Anthony Jr. All right, anyway. I'm done.
So hot. Want to touch the hiney. Love Carmela.
Let's go to Phil in Nashville. First up for You're Not That Guy. You can join us there at 615-737-1045. What's up, Phil?
Hey, thank you for taking my call. Hey, I got to be the odd duck in the pond this morning. I'm sorry. I know everybody got mixed emotions about Mike Rabel, but, I started off case of beer a week, and I thought I was doing pretty good because I had finally got myself down to that. You're talking about a drinker every day. But after the stress that they put me through, I'm a half a case a day now. So I got to say, it starts with leadership, and the more they mess up, the more I mess up. So I'm going to have to put it on Mike Rabel.
Well, dang, that's a lot.
All right, Phil. Go
Phil,
on with your
don't
bad
do that
self.
to yourself.
You know who I hope is that guy is Phil's designated driver.
God, Phil, don't do that to yourself. Put your health first
Okay.
before these Titans.
He's a half
Believe
a case
me.
a day.
That's not good.
Losing sucks.
not
Caleb.
Half a
good.
case a day, man.
Not good.
We got to get Phil a winning football team.
Yeah, I hope Rabel's listening.
Or maybe a dog.
Should I ask that question to him at the podium
Probably
tomorrow?
wouldn't, but
Yeah, how do you feel?
Phil said he's to a half a case a day. How do you fix that with winning?
how much is a case again? Isn't that 24?
Yeah, 24 pack.
12, right?
No, the case.
Is it
Well, I
12?
would think
Cases.
it depends on. Well, Phil clearly's been on to a 24 pack. I think he's probably 12 a day.
I'm going to say, if you're willing to admit that on the radio, I think it's probably the larger number.
Yeah,
Goodness. Phil, take care of yourself.
I think he fine.
Yeah.
When he's
A case
intoxicated.
of beer is 24.
Phil is fine, Caleb.
Good Lord.
Goodness sakes.
He's not the only one I know that's on that situation right now.
People stressing out here.
It is. It's that time of the year, Kayla.
Well, it is with buying gifts. That's what stresses me out. Ugh.
Do you
Is it?
guys have a specific
Yes.
drink of choice after a loss? After your team loses?
Give me a Cosmo time
Absinthe.
of the week.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't even drink that bad after losses, man. I
vomited.
just drown myself in the bathtub. I just lay in a sad bath.
I was
Yeah,
about to make
bathtub's
a
my
very
thing, too.
bad joke, and I'm glad I shut my mouth up right there.
Cheyenne
What?
calls it sloshing. She can always hear me sloshing in the bath after a bad loss.
Really? Do you do bubbles, Bert?
Ramon, just talk.
Ramon,
He's
if
sabotaging
you don't
me.
have a conversation
yeah,
to
what the
have
heck,
with the
Ramon?
rest of
I
the
was
class.
trying to ask him
So,
a very
demerit
important
on both of
question.
you.
That is the demerit of both of us right there.
I was asking if he did bubbles in his bath.
Oh, I am a Dr. Teal
Okay, perfect.
expert.
Yes, Dr. Teal, hands up.
No free shout outs. Oh,
Dr.
Will.
Teal.
I know what Will's getting for
Spearmint?
Christmas. Will getting some
Sounds
Dr.
like
Teals.
Oh, it's so good, guys.
Sounds like a Dr. Pepper spinoff.
My
I
drink,
wouldn't drink it.
my drink after a loss lately has been tequila on the rocks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got some real good sipping
You got
tequila
me
at the
down
house.
bad. Well, never mind. The tequila you're drinking, you're not down bad.
Yeah, no, it's not that. Shout out to my guy Jason. Shout out to
For
my guy
people,
Jason.
for
Right?
people like me, if you're drinking tequila on the rocks, then you're down horrifically.
It's some real good stuff out there.
Bourbon for me. Bourbon after a loss, always. That has always been over the 2 years I've been able to drink.
Yeah,
Not 2 years.
You
I'm not 23, but
what to say. But tequila on the rocks. It was actually Sunday. I was like, "Here, Keith, try this out." She sipped and she's a fruity drinker.
Yeah, I am
okay,
too.
don't even want to taste the alcohol in it at all, much at all, anyway. And she was like, "Why would you give me that?"
I'm
I was
with
like,
Keith.
I thought it was really good. You know, it was real good sipping tequila.
Unless you're taking shots, then I'm shot all day.
Yeah,
Give me shots.
Yeah,
I'm good.
yeah, absolutely.
oh gosh,
Can't do
absolutely
shots.
not.
Tequila in specific.
Absolutely not.
Oh, we got to teach you the shot tricks, Will. You can get past
No,
it.
just because I it's not that I don't know them; it's I don't enjoy them. It's just not fun to me.
Yeah, nobody likes shots. Like
No,
going to
it's
the
so
doctor.
fun.
Nobody likes getting shots there
Kayla
either.
is saying it is very fun right now.
the
Y'all
after
speak for
effect.
yourselves. Like, oh god.
As long as you get that dragon breath, right after you take that shot, you let out a big.
oh no.
You push all that heat out, and you can go, it wasn't even that bad, and make fun of all the people making little squirmy faces.
Yeah, in the F&M Bank chat, D Good says, so Kayla and Buck are psychopaths.
I probably would not check out as one, but if you want to call me one, that's fine.
Oh, makes my stomach turn this early.
It's because then I don't need to spend money on drinks besides, I mean, you give me two, I'm good to go.
That's
to the
why my
point.
buddy donates plasma on Fridays. Because he says it's so much cheaper to get drunk.
What?
If you donate plasma, it only takes like one shot.
What
And then-
Are
on
you
earth
And then you're
are
house.
you talking about?
I'm scared of needles, or I'd try it.
He's helping
That
the
is
world and also hurting
hilarious.
himself. That is a sacrifice right there, bro.
What on earth
That
are
is
you
the
talking
ultimate
about?
sacrifice right
Goodness
there.
gracious.
He's giving plasma to some people that need it, but also hurting himself at the same time for an ultimate plan of getting
Helping his
hammered
pockets,
quicker.
too.
Do you
What?
get paid? How much do you get paid for
$40.
that? 40.
Is it 40 or 60?
I don't know, man. That was like some back in the day stuff, man. They probably upped the prices a little bit. If you're taking something out of my body, I need a little bit of money.
We stayed at Grand Forest on Knoxville campus. There was the actual plasma place behind it. It was a few times where I was hurting for cash. It's
I know
like,
Grand Forest well.
do I want to go give
Sure.
plasma today? Because
Sure.
I needed them 60 they was
Sure.
giving.
Never heard of that.
You haven't?
No.
Yeah, it was right off of right behind Grand Forest.
Only plasma I know is Michael Scott's plasma screen TV in his condo. 615-737-1045 if you want to get us back on the rails.
Goodness.
Coming up, Jim Harbaugh is back at it again.
Ugh.
You know you love cheering for those cheaters. That's what Jim Harbaugh thinks. He thinks Michigan's America's team. You will have to hear this coming up next.
When it comes to large home repairs, a lot of the time we homeowners pretend we don't see the warning signs. We're afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repair. It could be something big that needs to be fixed right away, or a smaller problem now that'll become bigger later, or maybe nothing at all. Bottom line is, we don't know, and we certainly don't want to be sold something we don't need. We need a peace of mind, and United Structural Systems is the company to give you that. They have over 25,000 100% satisfied residential customers, and here's how they make that happen. When USS comes out to your house, you're going to get a problem solver who provides a peace of mind to the customer. That's you, the homeowner. You're not going to get someone who is worried about meeting a sales quota or upselling the next big thing, but someone there to educate you and help you understand what is happening with your home. At USS, their only measure of success is how satisfied the homeowner is and not a closing ratio. Okay? This is the company who cares and a company you can trust. They guarantee their best, keeping homes dry and stable for over 25 years. USS serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. You can reach them online at USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855.
Coming up on halftime of the show, it's RKW brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. And we remind you that we are building a field of toys to benefit the Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels. Our 16th annual Toy Field Toy Drive, sponsored by A.O. Smith and Cool Ray, is December 5th. That is a Tuesday at Nissan Stadium. While you're out donating or doing your holiday shopping, remember those in need this holiday season. Pick up a gift for a senior or a toy and help us build a field of toys at Toy Field on Tuesday, December 5th at Nissan Stadium. 615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up in hour number 3, we'll talk with Austin Price of Volquest.com, recap some of the biggest college football games as well coming up in 15 minutes. And one of those included a Michigan win over Penn State. Yet instead of the Michigan win over Penn State, we want to talk more about Jim Harbaugh acting like, well, Jim Harbaugh at the podium yesterday.
The perseverance, and then the stalwartness of these guys. I mean, yeah, watching, I would have to say, everybody. It's got to be America's team. It's got to be America's team. America loves a team that beats the odds, beats the adversity, overcomes what the naysayers and, critics, so-called experts think. That's my favorite kind of team. And, yeah, watching it from that view on the television, it was finally people get to see what I see every day, in these players and these coaches.
I would argue that America's team is whoever's playing Michigan.
Is that reverse psychology he's trying to preach?
That is one of the dumbest comments I've heard anybody make. Like, I get it if you feel like he's going to be untouchable, and through this whole case and ordeal, I don't think they're going to be banned. I think if they're good enough, they're going to play in the national championship. But what sucks is he's adding extra pressure to those kids that are out there actually playing. You never write a check for somebody else that you can't cash, that somebody else got to play for. And that's what Harbaugh is to me, because what's messed up about all of this situation is he allowed or knew or didn't self-check his program for the Castalians kid, okay?
Connor Stallions, yeah.
Connor Stallions, Castallion, whatever his name is. He should be forgotten. Maybe he's a good dude, but those players on that field got to hear a lot of what everybody else is saying. Those players on the field got to deal with the repercussion of you potentially setting them up to win a national championship and then having a strip too. That is a very selfish take by him. It's one of those self-absorbed comments, I feel like, that he didn't have to make. Like, I understand if you got a world-class lawyer, he can get you off of a case, boom, cool, talk your stuff. But you still got pending charges. Mm-hmm. This is still going to be a situation in which you, Harbaugh, got to, really figure out how you going to manage this, the entirety of it. It sucks because he going to be all right. Those kids are playing for pride and playing for him, and he's doubling down on the idea that it's okay to be a villain, and sometimes it is. But this one was caused by you as a coach, allowing Connor Stallions to blatantly walk on other people's sideline. The reason I'm anti what they did, we all know opponent signals. We all know when they was doing certain stuff in the games. It's the same way I feel about this is the same way I feel about players with that's on roids. Everybody's taking something to try to recover legally, right? But when the times I feel like I played against guys that I heard had roids on their resume, or like, man, this dude doing a little extra, you felt that. It's not an even playing ground. Michigan was playing with a very uneven playing ground, considering they had people infiltrating teams that they're not associated with, putting on disguises to go record. Like, I know everybody's cheating. You're right. Everybody is cheating, but nobody was doing it like them. Look how bad on the professional level what do we call them? New England cheaters? What do you want to call them? Bill, all those types of names, right? All of those things right there are because of the way they operate, and he's just doubling down on it. It sucks for the kids because at some point, if they do win it, it's going to get snatched.
Well,
My bad.
You're not America's team. Like,
no.
Breaking news, you're not at all. And this isn't the first time he's had issues with the NCAA, right? He did in recruiting. This is way picker, obviously. But this is Jim Harbaugh for you. And I know Taylor Lewan put out a tweet and said, I don't know how, people don't understand he's beloved by his players, that anybody who's played for them. I get it. That's a separate thing, though. Like, you have created a way about yourself as a head coach, at least to the college game. And for you to go up there and call this America's team, I guess if that gets your team pumped up, whatever. But you're America's like villain right now. That's what you are.
It was just silly. That's what that was. I can't believe you actually
I just don't.
said
Why
that.
say it now? Why go up there and create this whole thing?
I think one thing we can all agree on: Jim Harbaugh sounds way sexier with a raspy voice like that.
Did he lose it?
Nah, he's arguing that he's not sick. But I
Yeah.
mean, if I
Yeah.
could talk with that kind of gravel in my voice, I would be doing it
Yeah.
every day.
Well, did you see the quote he had about getting sick, though?
I'm
He
like
said,
the.
he said his voice is hoarse, but he isn't sick. He said, I'm the iron wall that viruses bash against and shatter.
What?
And then he was asked how he was going to get it out of his system, and he said, do some more push-ups and eat an apple. Sure.
Goodness.
Honestly, I kind of dig it, man.
I respect the
goodness.
authenticity. I don't
Oh,
like what he
my
has to say,
God.
but at least he's himself.
You know
Yeah.
why?
You never have to doubt what Jim Harbaugh's thinking because he'll tell you.
He got a golden parachute one way or the other.
I know.
Golden khakis.
Because he's got
Man.
NFL teams lining up to take him off of Michigan's hands this
Yep.
offseason.
With the buyout.
That
Yeah,
was my question. Do you think he'll go at some point?
I
in the
think he's an
next few
NFL
years?
coach this time next year.
Yeah.
It's hot for him.
I do. I really do. Yep.
Dang kids. Shoot.
Meddling kids.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, genuinely, America's team's whoever's playing Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan already wasn't a likable brand around college athletics. It's going to, be tough for a lot of us who have to now cheer for Ohio State
Mhm.
when they play Michigan because I don't want to do that either. I might cheer for the refs, maybe the under.
That team was good, though, on Saturday.
I mean, they were great.
They were.
Look, I mean, it's no different than Kirby Smart telling his team that people are going to pick them to go 6-6. Like, I don't get worked up about stuff like this because it's what college coaches do, right? When you only have 2 meaningful games in your entire season, you have to make every game a little bit more meaningful and motivate your team to say, yeah, you're the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
When a team is going to be the underdog in 0 out of their 12 regular season games, you have to convince them that they should have a chip on their shoulder when there's no reason for them to actually have a chip on their shoulder. It's a non-thing for me. It's just
Well,
college football.
the assistant coach crying too afterwards was way too much.
That
I'm sorry.
I have more
can't-
of an issue with.
I'm like, this is not.
Yeah,
time
the
or
interim
place.
coach crying and saying, we did this for you as he drops expletives on Fox's broadcast.
I was like, no.
Crazy. He didn't die. He just cheated. 615-737-1045, the number. Coming up, Georgia, Ole Miss was not a game. Thought it would be close. I was very wrong. And Brock Bowers is back. Not great news for Tennessee. More on that coming up next.
8 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Monday Night Football last night. The Broncos beat the Bills 24-22. The Broncos initially missed the game-winning field goal, but a 12-minute-on-the-field penalty gave them another chance, and this time Will Lutz did not miss. Put the Broncos ahead with no time remaining. Broncos now have won 3 in a row, beating the Chiefs and the Bills in the last 2 weeks. Bills fall to 5-5 and are currently on the outside looking in on the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, the AFC is a dogfight. Every team currently in the playoffs, aside from the Texans, are 6-3 or better. Teams on the outside looking in: Bengals at 5-4, Bills and Colts at 5-5, and the Chargers at 4-5. In college basketball last night, number 14 Arkansas whooped up on Old Dominion 86-77. Number 12 Miami took down FIU 86-80, and number 2 Purdue X'd out Xavier 83-71. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone for 2 more hours on your Tuesday morning. And coming up in 20 minutes, we'll talk Tennessee and Georgia with Austin Price of allquest.com and on 3 and figure out what went wrong in Missouri for the Vols as they get back home for their final 2 games of 2023 and maybe fight for a Florida Bowl game against Georgia this weekend and Vanderbilt on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. You can jump in with your thoughts on that or on the Titans. Anything in between. That's 615-737-1045 in the F&M Bank chat as well, where you can watch the show on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and or Twitch.
Twitch, please.
Thank you so much. That's Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. My name is Will Bowling. Georgia Ole Miss. 9.5 point spread, and it was not even close to that. 52-17, Georgia over Ole Miss. And you might have been like me and scheduled your Saturday night around watching that game and found another activity to do Saturday night.
Essentially. Georgia's good. Their operation is flawless at this point with everything they're asking their players to do. Defense is showing up the way Georgia defense have the last 3-4 years. And the quarterback has gotten better. That was the biggest question mark that they had right there. What can that quarterback do? And he settled in. When you got those types of players, you better be a stud, and they are, man. That's what you're looking for out of your recruits.
And now you get back your star, Brock Bowers, right? And you're even that much better because you kind of learned in those few games without him how to utilize the other weapons like Ladd McConkey. You know, some of the other things he has at his disposal offensively. Now you got him back. It's like, I feel like that rejuvenates the entire team at this time of the year.
It does. And they're getting hot at the right time, too. Knoxville has his hands full entirely. They can silence a crowd with the plays that they make, man. And they've proven that. They played a late afternoon game and just basically handed Ole Miss. And y'all, I think highly of the things that Lane Kiffin can do offensively. Absolutely got no life. He smothered them with a wet blanket and let some smoke fumes out. You know what I'm saying? He ain't doused the fire completely. But they found a way to just put a wet blanket on that fire and just let a little smoke. They're like, hey, you know what that is over there, right? That's Ole Miss. You can be like them if you come play Georgia. That's essentially what they got going on. They, to me, I think Ohio State ended up getting number 1. Georgia should probably be at that point now.
I think they will be now.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, Lane Kiffin, when asked about what Ole Miss needs to do to be more competitive in games like this, had the right answer. Said, we have to recruit at a higher level.
Yep.
I'm not blaming the players. We have to coach better. We have signed 1 5-star. Georgia signed 24.
Exactly.
Transfers only get you so far. I think Tennessee is recognizing that again, that when guys like Keenan Peely get hurt, no offense to Elijah Herring, who's a young linebacker who is trying to learn on the job, how to be a starter only 2 years into his collegiate career right now. Josh Heupel mentioned him yesterday as a guy who had his eyes in the wrong spots at times against Missouri. Georgia, when someone gets hurt like Brock Bowers, they're putting in another blue chip prospect behind him. And then you have Carson Beck, who steps in for Stetson Bennett, who's a Heisman finalist somehow. And Carson Beck is the highly touted quarterback that Stetson Bennett became late in his career. Stetson Bennett's don't grow on trees. It's what allowed Georgia to kind of get outside of the regular cycle of being great, taking a little bit of a step back under maybe a less highly touted quarterback. But now Georgia has the highly touted quarterback in Carson Beck. And it is genuinely the sport where talent acquisition most directly correlates to success. If you don't have 5 stars, you just don't have a chance to win a national championship.
And even when you do have 5 stars, Will, like I had just mentioned in Jimbo Fisher, you have to continue to develop them. You have to continue to set them up for success. And that's what we've seen with Kirby Smart. I think we talked about it at the beginning of the year. Yeah, he has Carson Beck. So what is he going to do with him? Are we going to see Carson Beck continue to develop throughout the season? I think we're seeing that. It's just something that Jimbo, and that's why it's so disgusting to see the payout, because he should have been able to develop all those 5 stars, or at least some of them.
So it's interesting. Right. 247 Sports has the talent composite on their website where they rank all of the players on every team and every roster. And like you mentioned, Texas A&M actually has the 4th best quote-unquote roster, according to the 247 Sports talent composite in college football. Alabama is 1, 18 5 stars, 56 4 stars. Georgia is 2 with 13 5 stars and 52 4 stars. And Ohio State is 3, 10 5 stars, 63 4 stars. Tennessee in the talent composite, 16th.
Okay.
So you would argue that actually Tennessee this year is performing relative to the talent on its roster. The Vols have 2 5 stars and 33 4 stars.
Yeah, it's about right.
And of the 2 5 stars, one of them is a quarterback in Nico Iamaleava, who's only playing mop-up duty this season.
And that goes into also the development of these players. Again, that D word, development of these players over time. And also the time that coaches get. How much time can you buy to gain grace from the athletic directors, from the fans? It's those 2 things that have to happen. If it's your guy that hired you, like Danny White hired Josh Heupel, you may get a little bit more time. But you look at a guy like Jimbo, the rate in which they invested, as much as he did not. We don't pay for players and all. Like, those donors help get all those 5 stars. And they pulled from every single state in the region, from California to Texas to Tennessee to Carolina. They got all the 5 stars that year a couple years back, and it netted nothing. The ROI has to be there. The return on interest has to be there at all times. And if you get all those 5 stars and they're 18, 17 years old coming out of high school, right, the development of them and it translating over to the field of play has to also be a byproduct of you getting all these players too. Because I think that's the reason nobody has that much grace for what Dabo has gone on and Clemson, right? Dabo's, you gotten the players. Do you know? Did you say where they were on that list, Will?
I'm glad you asked,
that's
Ramon Foster, because they are 5th.
Oh, yeah. So they're right up there. Yeah,
so
they are.
what's his excuse?
Clemson with the 5th best roster. The rest of the top 10, Texas, LSU, USC, Oklahoma, Oregon. Top 10 rosters. And those are the teams that we continually talk about.
Sure.
And the ones that have underachieved, USC and LSU, is because they can't play defense.
Can I get up on the soapbox real quick, though?
You may.
So when we go into these weekends, Vols fans or almost anybody, fans of any place, I don't care if you're Arkansas, Ole Miss, or whoever the case may be, when we talk about the reality of how you build a plan, a program up, and the expectation of the coaches and how you get to, hey, we want to play in a national championship, look at those rosters. Because that matter. As genius as Nick Saban is, how good is it if he doesn't have that top 5 roster every single year? And winning creates that environment where more guys want to be around winners. Again, I bring up, look at what Philly's doing and how much they're dipping into Georgia's backyard to draft their players. Because it's evident, right? It's obvious what they got going on. Georgia recruits the best, so I'm going to go find what's on their roster and bring them to our team, and they compete immediately. That matters. So when we're about to fire a coach, or, hey, this guy sucks. No, let's look at the reality of what it actually is. You might not have the roster to compete with Bama for the long stretch. You can do it for a half. or Texas for the long stretch. Oklahoma, even though they dropped a bad egg to Oklahoma State and all, but Ohio State's constantly there. Georgia's constantly there. LSU should be there. Bama's always there. And now if you throw in SC and Oregon, I mean, you own to something.
Yeah.
And that's probably also the other reason why Penn State is in that middle ground, bottom
13th.
of tier 1,
Yep.
top of tier 2. Look at the difference.
I mean, Michigan's 14th, though, in terms of talent.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
But they've recruited elite offensive linemen, and they're
True.
developing elite offensive linemen in a conference where no one else has elite linemen on either side of the ball, other than the normal first-round edge rushers and pass rushers that Ohio State has.
Last 2 years, though, I mean, we throwing kind of stallions in this conversation. It's a different reason why they also win it. But aside from that, though, Michigan always falls to Ohio State more times than not.
Not anymore.
Well, not anymore,
Was
but
that
they
your
always
point?
do. That's my point. They always usually falls to Ohio State. And Harbaugh's coaching is behind off and his coaching staff.
He owns them right now. I know they don't like to hear that.
They ran the football, 10 straight times at one point against
Yeah.
Penn State? They built a specific identity to beat
They did.
Big Ten teams
Sure.
and to win their conference.
They play within their conference. You're
Yeah.
right.
And that's why part of that coaching and being a good coach in college, sustainability. How much can you sustain being one of the top teams? And it's hard to do.
I think that is the difference between today's Big Ten and today's SEC. We're going to talk about a one-dimensional Tennessee team coming up in a few minutes with Austin Price. Michigan is as good as its one dimension as anyone is at one thing in college football. I don't know if you could survive an entire SEC schedule just running the ball 12 straight times. And I don't think you could survive next year's Big Ten schedule by just running the ball 12 straight times against Oregon, against Washington, against USC even though they can't play defense right now, obviously. But I do think that's going to become more interesting for teams like Michigan, who have built their teams to win in one specific way. Now you might have to win in two specific ways.
You might have to. But if their goal is to win the Big Ten, they're on track for that. But again, the timeline of this, though, Will, how long has Harbaugh been there since he's been able to operate like this? It's been a little while.
And he's only been operating like this since they started beating Ohio State, 3 years ago? 2 years ago? Yeah. 615-737-1045. We'll get back to your phone calls coming up at 8:45. But when we talk about talent acquisition, it makes big recruiting weekends feel that much more important. And as Tennessee tries to continue its home winning streak on Saturday, it will host one of its best recruiting weekends ever under Josh Heupel. Austin Price of Volquest.com runs through that big list of visitors and the names you should know going into Tennessee and Georgia this upcoming weekend. Austin Price joins us coming up next on RKW.
This Ramon and Kayla for Window Nation as I throw my
This
words
is,
around.
baby.
Yeah, there we go, Kayla. I'll tell you what right now, though, the temperatures are dropping rapidly and energy costs are on the rise. So if you have old drafty windows, your furnace is working harder than ever to keep your family warm. Window Nation wants to help this month, though, with 0% financing for 5 years. Plus, 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Now is the time to protect your family from the elements, lower your energy costs, and upgrade the look and feel of your home.
Yeah, now is the time, Ramon, because once that real cold weather hits, you don't want to be messing with the windows. You want to have them ready to go so that you're saving over 30% on those energy bills, not letting the heat get out of the house in the cold winter months. And they do it all, and they do it all well. Installed over 200,000 windows from Window Nation. Last year, 40% more than the average window company, folks, and a great perfection rate, 96% to be exact. You can trust us, or you can just go online and find over their 10,000 online positive reviews. They're all there for you to see. So do it now. Don't wait. It's 866-90NATION, or go online to windownation.com.
That music can only mean one thing on RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast. It is time to talk with Volquest's Austin Price. What in the world happened in Columbia, Missouri over the weekend? Austin joins us right now, previewing a big recruiting weekend as well for Tennessee against Georgia. What's up, Austin? How are you?
I'm just trying to figure out what you just said too. I mean, what did happen? I mean, it was a drive-by fruiting, to quote Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, it was ugly. I mean, that trip sucks. Period. Okay.
Yes, it does.
Just getting to Columbia, Missouri. That's if Tennessee wins. Like, imagine calling a high school game on Friday night here in Knoxville, taking a 5 a.m. with 3 hours sleep, covering the game, going back, getting another 3 hours sleep, and then taking another 5 a.m. home. Oh, it was rough. And, Tennessee just looked bad on both sides of the ball. Missouri, they whipped them really good. And, Tennessee's now going to try to pick up the pieces against the number one team in the country. Good luck.
Austin, I was there in 2015 for one of those really cold Tennessee-Missouri games. I think the kickoff temperature was 12, and we were getting out of our car, my dad and I, and we were parked right next to the Missouri student hospital, on campus. And I kid you not, a helicopter landed right next to us and hovered over us for a couple minutes. And just the wind in 12 degrees is something. My fingers and toes still have not thawed out. But has the sun ever shone in Columbia, Missouri? Can you confirm that there is a sun there?
Yeah, it was out there Saturday. It was actually out there the last two games. The last time Tennessee played there was at the end of September, 1st of October 2 years ago. And it was played at an 11 a.m. kickoff, and the sun was out that day. It's not like Kentucky.
That's fair.
I've never seen the sun shine in the bluegrass, but it's got a hit and miss at Missouri. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't.
Well, Austin, on the field, nothing was shining out for Tennessee. Josh Heupel now 3-8 as Tennessee's coach when it rushes for less than 150 yards. And in Tennessee's 3 losses this year, Tennessee's running backs have 219 yards on 59 carries for 3.7 yards per carry. What surprised you the most in this one for Tennessee?
The Tennessee just came out so flat after the initial pick. The 3 and out. I thought it was rough because you had the momentum there early, and if you go and score there, how does the complexion change? Obviously. How does the complexion change if Jalen Wright doesn't fumble and you either take the lead with a touchdown there at the end of the half or you kick a field goal and tie it? Instead, you let them go right back down the field in 20 seconds and kick a field goal. There were just some swing plays. The 3rd and 10 at the 6-inch line to start the fourth quarter when you had Missouri backed up, letting Cook scramble for, the first down. Just some maddening plays if you were a Tennessee fan. But Tennessee's inability to run the football, and to continue to hand off when Missouri had 7 8-man fronts, I think that was probably the biggest thing. Because some of those RPOs, Joe's got to, got to pull it and throw it. You can't just continue to hand off when your running back's walking into a situation where they're outnumbered.
With the Jalen Wright fumble, if that doesn't happen, do you think you see a different ball game? I know it's a very hypothetical, right? But do you see that being a deflating tire to that game?
I mean, I'd love to say yes, Ramon, but at the same time, Missouri was just a better team Saturday. Tennessee had multiple opportunities to either take the lead or kind of pull back within one possession in the second half and make Missouri think about it a little bit, and they just never could. It was, by the time Joe threw the pick 6, it was over at that point. It was over when Luther Burden made it 29-7 there with about 6 minutes to go, 6-9 minutes to go in the football game. Tennessee had kind of hung around, but they scored 7 points. 7. They moved it a lot between the 30s. I won't even say the 20s. They lose a lot between the 30s, but they self-inflicted wounds and mistakes and just again they scored 7. So as much as everybody wants to hate on Tim Banks and the defense, Tim Banks and the defense has still never given up 30 points in the game this year. Every time somebody's got 30, there's been a defense or there's been a defensive score, whether it be a scoop and score, Bama, a pick 6. And I mean, again, don't get me wrong, the defense has got to be way better. I mean, I'm not trying to say that they're, some beacon of shining light. I mean, too many third downs. It's not 3rd and 2 given up. It's 3rd and 12, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 9, and it's repetitive. And it keeps the drives going. It keeps your offense off the field. But like Saturday, the offense was just as bad. I mean, 7 points. I mean, that's just not going to cut it. And then, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of how they didn't sub at the end of the game. The last 5 or 6 minutes, you're down 30 points. You should have had Addison Nichols in the game. You're trying to figure out what you have in him going forward. I mean, kids like that can end up in the transfer portal in 20 days, the ones that haven't really played. And so you need to figure out what you have in them. So why not get them out there, see what you have the last 5 or 6 minutes? I mean, everybody can talk about Nico, and sure, I would have put Nico in. He could use a road environment. Is his first road environment really going to be in Norman, Oklahoma next year in September? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, why not throw him out there the last 5 or 6 minutes and just let him play? I mean, it's not like it was a super hostile environment, but it's not Neyland, right? From a standpoint of like everybody's at church at Neyland when Tennessee's on offense. There was still some noise in there. But I mean, it's other guys. It's Ethan Davis. It's Addison Nichols. Like, why has Tennessee got all the starters in there? Nichols went in with 3 minutes to go when Ollie Lane got injured. Like, some of that stuff, I think, is where they got to mishandle some things.
When you look at the 7 points that was scored, has the question been asked to Heupel, or has he addressed it as to, when will this offense grow a little bit more branches? Like, it's a real nice tree, right? Like, where does it come from to where it's not just thrown to the sideline or it's just a pump fake quick out? Is there a better time than right now, considering how stagnant this offense looked against Florida and also Missouri, to be exact, to where he evolves just a little bit more with the pace and tempo of it, with also routes or different concepts?
I think they are kind of who they are, right? I mean, like, I don't think that I'm not saying that they can't, like, do some different wrinkles, but, I think, on the whole, when it comes to personnel, when it comes to overall scheme, Hype's going to do what he feels comfortable with. And, I do think that the offense is somewhat hamstrung in some ways, whether it be, at the quarterback spot, whether it be at, the fact Tennessee doesn't have really dynamic receivers, and they've lost even more of the receivers, and they're down to about 4 guys. So, I mean, like, I do think that they're probably not playing with, their full complement this year. And I think that's probably been a little bit of an Achilles heel, so to speak. But, I mean, they still have to be able to do more than they did Saturday. Again, it's about finishing drives. I don't care how much yardage you put up. If you can't put points on the board, it doesn't matter. And so, like, Tennessee, moving it between the 20s and 30s is great, but you've got to finish off. Tennessee's been terrible in the red zone this year. And, unless they find some magic elixir against Georgia this weekend, I would say you'll see much of the same.
Austin Price of Volquest.com joining us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Austin, so in SEC games, Tennessee averaging 79 yards worth of penalties. I want to ask you, is this something that is a problem that, they should have fixed by now, or is this something that just luck comes along with that, with some of these calls? What do you make of that at this point of the season?
Well, Kayla, I think it's just been a norm under Josh Heupel. Like, I think because of the tempo and all that stuff that they run. Now, they've run less tempo this year than they have had in the previous 2 years, just because of personnel and stuff. But I think that's just a product of the system. And they have a lot of free snap penalties. I think Tennessee, ends up putting themselves at 1st and 15 or 2nd and 17 or 3rd and 12 more times than they should. And, they need to clean it up, because you can't have all these pre-snap penalties, and you can't be undisciplined to the tune of 80 and 100 yards every week. I mean, I just think that, last year you could do that and it wasn't a big deal. You played it 1st and 15, 2nd and 17, and Hendon said, okay, Jalen, touchdown, right? I mean, like, yeah. It was different. This year they're just not able to overcome the setbacks that they're inflicting upon themselves with all the penalties.
Wide receiver woes this season, just in terms of injuries. Now we see Dante Thornton out. I mean, he was just getting into a groove. How big of a blow was that? I
mean, it's a blow just because, I mean, again, it's a quality body. as far as production, it's not like Dante had, set the world on fire. I mean, he had started to come into his own a little bit the last few weeks since they moved him outside. He made a fantastic catch on a play that he got hurt, Saturday. And now with a high ankle sprain, we'll miss the rest of the regular season. And, we'll see how quickly he's able to get back for bowl prep and go from there. But, it's a blow just off a quality body, somebody who can run, can stretch the defense. I mean, as far as pure production, it's not some massive loss, right? I mean, it's not like losing, Jalen Wright or somebody like that who's put up a ton of numbers. But from a position you were already weak at, or as far as thin, as far as depth you're thin at, it's a loss.
Austin Price of Volquest with us. Austin, here in Nashville, Jaron Sensabaugh from Innsworth announced his decommitment from Vanderbilt over the weekend, and then also announced that he got an offer from Tennessee and that he is locked in for an official visit with the Vols the weekend of December 8th. How big of a priority is he, a guy that we've seen in our game of the week a few times the past couple of years and have really been impressed with the way he plays?
Well, I mean, when you look at Tennessee's secondary, I mean, I think they can use more quality bodies. They've got a lot of young guys, whether it be Christian Conyers or Ricky Gibson, Jordan Matthews, John Slaughter, that they really like, whether it be at corner or safety. They've got a nice, DB class coming in with Caleb Beasley and Boo Carter and people like that. Tennessee's also trying to land Kai Bates, who just decommitted from LSU last night and is set to be in town this weekend. Sensabaugh, Bates, I mean, all those guys are important just because I think Tennessee, knows they've got to get more athletic in the back end. And, adding, again, quality players is very much on the to-do list for Josh Heupel and the defensive staff.
Austin, does this have a chance to be the most star-studded recruiting visit weekend that Tennessee has had under Josh Heupel? And who are some of the big names who you think will be in town this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll start with Jordan Seaton, the five-star offensive tackle from IMG, but you have a couple of junior college products and Kamari Copeland and Brian Taylor who are going to be here. You have Roger Saliapaga, tight end from Utah, will be in town. Elias Williams, defensive lineman who's committed to Missouri, is supposed to be here for his official visit. And then you have players coming in here unofficially, and we'll see who all makes it in. But Michael Smith, the tight end, who's teammates with Jake Merklinger, could be here. From a 25 perspective, it doesn't get much bigger than George McIntyre, who will be in town this weekend. And so yeah, it's a big weekend. And again, it's why Tennessee's got to find a way, to be way more competitive than they were last week. They've got to find a way to kind of, pull themselves up by the bootstraps, have a good game plan, bring the energy, hope the home crowd fuels them, find some plays early and find some chunk plays on offense, and, see if they can make it a four-quarter fight against a team that has not lost a football game in quite a while.
And on Saturday, too, you control Georgia by controlling the clock a little bit. 3 and outs can't work this weekend, and they've had some bad issues with the Florida game and Missouri game and Bama when it comes down to adjustments or either continuing to run the ball. I'll just straight up, can they get it done against Georgia this weekend when it comes down to them sustaining drives?
If you're just going off of recent history, I would tell you no.
Yeah.
But at the same time, back in 2004, Tennessee got throttled at home by Auburn and turned around the next week against the number 3 ranked Georgia team in Athens and won 19-14 against David Green and David Pollock and all those, seniors in their last go-around at Georgia. It's football, it's sports. I never say never on anything, but again, Tennessee's got to find a way to extend drives. Even if you don't score, you can't go 3 and out. You can't throw your defense right back out there, which is why Hype may not be able to do as much tempo this week, right? Pick your spots when you do tempo. Tennessee's got to be able to get off the field on third down. When you get Georgia at 3rd and 9 and 3rd and 11 and stuff like that, you've got to get off the field. Bend but don't break. That's fine to a degree, but Georgia's got, a really balanced offense. Kendall Milton's starting to find his groove running the football. Obviously, Georgia's passing game has, I think, really kind of found its groove since Brock Bowers went out. Now he's back, because they were forced to, right? It was so much of early in the season, it was, hey, let's just, we can always get it to Brock Bowers. We can always get it to Brock Bowers. And, then all of a sudden he was gone. And so they had to kind of morph and, guys had to step up, and they did. And Carson Beck is, being really, really efficient. So Tennessee's going to have to, find a way, and, like I said, I think it's, to answer your question, I would tell you just off recent history, no, but stranger things have happened. And, I do think that knowing that you can get, run out of the stadium is an eye popper for, any 18 to 22-year-old kid that they want to avoid. So I would say Tennessee's going to deliver their, give them their best shot. Is it good enough? I don't know. I don't think any of us do, but I think Tennessee will match the intensity early. We'll see if they can sustain.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, and Austin, you got Dolly Parton. I mean, Kirby Smart didn't even know she was going to be there. Secret weapon, I think. Gosh.
Well, they've never have announced if she's going to, perform at halftime with the Pride or whatever. I mean, if she is, the game will have to move pretty quick in the first half because, the first half will last about an hour and a half. And after 5 o'clock, she's not working. So
There we go.
What a way to make a living. Having Austin Price on Tuesdays on RKW. That's a good walk-off right there. Austin bringing it with us as always. Appreciate it.
Solid.
It's why I love going to Sevier County High School, guys. It's her alma mater. The band plays 9 to 5. It's fantastic for a high school football atmosphere.
It's beautiful.
Pretty
Smoky Bears of Sevier County. That's right. Thank you, Austin.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
All right, there's Austin Price with us this morning here on the show. That actually, fun fact, at my sister's graduation at Tennessee, her keynote speaker was Dolly. Wow. And they processed out to 9 to 5.
That's like a dream.
And the end of her speech was like, well, now you get to go to your 9 to 5. And then she played it.
That's incredible.
If there's one accent I know how to do, it's a Dolly Parton Sevier County.
No, that wasn't a good Dolly Parton
It
impression.
was. 615-737-1045, the number coming up. Great college hoops night.
Mm-hmm.
Some great games to watch out for tonight, including one in Knoxville. More on that coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster Hiller, plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical, man. Besides all the things they can do for you, which I just told you, whether it be plumbing, electrical, HVAC, man, they're giving away cash for the holidays with select purchases. Hiller wants to make sure every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year. They're donating $50 in toys to Toys for Tots for every tankless water heater purchase and giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select HVAC systems, or a $500 gift card with the purchase of a new home generator. And these purchases all have great financing options with low monthly payments, okay? These deals are only available until the end of the year. So schedule today at happyhiller.com.
Well, this will get the blood pumping on a Tuesday morning. Yeah, I could work out to this song.
Oh, yeah.
It's a hype song.
Definitely one of the ones where you go into your workout, plan it in the car, and just hop out like your tempo is ready.
Yeah.
Good way to start the morning. A little bit of Dolly Parton in your life. It's RKW brewed by 8th and Roast. We'll bring the mood back down and talk Titans at hour 4 coming up. Just kidding. You can talk Titans and it not be too sad.
You've seen the On3 report? Queen Ewers?
Which one?
Was expected to come back in 2024 for Texas.
Interesting.
Look at that.
Yeah. I ain't mean to derail you there, but that is big news right there.
Show me the money, and that's going to be weird with
Is that
little young Manny.
Yes.
And Malik Murphy, too, who's not been bad in mop-up or in relief of Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, that's going to be fascinating. It's good problem to have is what they would tell you, right?
Absolutely.
Real good problem to have.
Do you think Arch Manning is still at Texas next year?
I ain't want to go down that rabbit hole, but that's going to be fascinating. Arch is starting wherever he goes next year. If it's that was my thought.
That's what's
that
crazy,
was my thoughts.
though.
I don't know about that.
That was my thought.
Because it's like Quinn clearly thinks he's going to still start.
Well, you don't come back unless you know you are, Caleb.
Right.
And, of course, now with the transfer portal window, isn't it closing sooner this second time around with this 2024 season? Open and close. I thought that was one of the amendments they made.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah, you're
100%.
right.
Yes, absolutely. So if I'm Arch and I got to sit another year, I wouldn't. I wouldn't if I'm him. I'm not overly pro transfer portal because you're supposed to stick these things out and be able to develop, and maybe that makes him a better redshirt sophomore. You know, he's still going to be a redshirt freshman. It's okay to still learn something. At least let's go back to 2004 to 2010. Essentially, that's what you had to do. 5-star sat behind guys, especially older dudes like that, until you got your opportunity. I ain't opposed to it, but in today's climate of, man, I know somebody else wants me, I have the ability to go somewhere else and start immediately. Where he goes, Lane would love to have him.
He'd get picked up in an instant.
Where's Lane going to be coaching?
I still think he at Ole Miss now.
You think he's going to stay?
You think he go to state?
Well, Texas A&M's looking at him.
Oh, I was about to say.
That's a big step down to go to Mississippi State.
A&M's looking at him.
Can you can Lane operate the way he wants to at A&M?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? Everybody can.
I thought they have a bunch of overseers there when it comes down to how you do business.
They got overseers who are going to pay money for football players.
And that's his biggest problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very limited ceiling at Ole Miss.
Sure.
And Lane Kiffin met it last year, or 2 years ago, really.
That's
with
why
Matt
I'm
Corral.
impressed with him this year.
That's why what? I missed it?
I'm impressed with what he's done this year, just considering the fact Will said it. How many 5-stars?
1.
A whopping
He's not
1.
recruiting well.
No.
He's recruiting the portal very well, but he's not recruiting high school kids very well at all to go to Ole Miss. He's consistently between 20 and 30 in the country, and you cannot win 10 games consistently with recruiting classes in the 20s to 30s.
No disrespect to the people who are from Mississippi. I play with guys at all levels from Mississippi. That's a hard place to just convince people to send their kids down to.
Texas A&M is a top 5 job in college football. 100%.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, they got the money.
The money, the resources, the fertile recruiting ground, the conference.
Yeah.
If you're ranking the top 5 jobs in college football, Georgia's definitely 1. Has been for a while. I would say Texas is probably 2, maybe.
I almost put Ohio State 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, would you rather recruit Texas or Ohio, though? I know Ohio is a very good high school football state.
It
but
is.
I would put Texas 2, probably Ohio State 3, either USC or Alabama.
I mean, Alabama, Price and USC, Southern Cal. Does that matter? I have to ask somebody. Does the
LSU
price
is up
matter?
there?
LSU is definitely up there.
Oh, price absolutely matters. I think the one thing for A&M people are underestimating is how much the large buyout will make that a more attractive job. Because if you fail, you've got 70 million reasons to
literally
take a chance, right? A team and a booster club that is willing to overpay makes that job so much better. And as the price of oil goes up, so does Texas A&M's ability to pay coaches and players.
Aren't
Genuinely.
they Buckies, too?
Yeah, they're Buckies also.
Tallahassee, Florida State.
Florida State, top 10 probably. Yeah.
Definitely.
Heck, Florida's at the top 10. of best
Florida's
jobs.
Definitely. Miami should be.
Yeah.
They got rolled over a little bit Saturday, too.
But A&M is the team that the casual football fan leaves out of that list the most. And I would say it's top 5 to top 10. Maybe top 5 is a bit of a reach. But you could make the argument, I don't agree with it, but you could make the argument that A&M is a better job than Alabama. You got more kids in your backyard who can play as 5-stars at A&M than you do Alabama.
And you can still recruit
History
them.
has nothing to do with it. Nothing. It's maybe 1% of the conversation.
So what you're really saying is resources and money make it top 5 also. That's in the
Correct.
equation. Okay.
100%.
Resources, meaning facilities, who can you recruit in your backyard, who's coming to your games already before you have to actually start recruiting them. And then beyond that, then you have the history, the tradition. A&M has tradition, doesn't have history of championships,
No.
but it does have tradition.
That's also what you're looking for in a new head coach, guys. They have to bring them up in the conversation in the SEC of one of the best teams because guess what? They have not been since joining.
No.
Today in college basketball, Michigan State, Duke tonight in Chicago, Kentucky and Kansas as well. Couple of fun
Good
ones.
one.
7 and 9:30 Eastern for those. Wisconsin, Providence, Marquette, Illinois, Colgate, and Syracuse. Sleepy good game.
Okay.
Tennessee gets Syracuse next week in the Maui Invitational. There are, I believe it was 5 top 11 teams in the Maui Invitational.
Jeez, I
Golly,
love that
really?
invitational.
So Tennessee has an opportunity to play Kansas,
Yeah.
Purdue, or Gonzaga, and they get
Yeah.
Syracuse to start it.
Let's go.
A lot of teams they have had a lot of success against recently. I mean, look, just of those 4 tonight, Tennessee last year beat Duke and Kansas, and they beat Michigan State in the preseason.
Yep.
Duke game is what really jump-started the fandom of saying, okay, this is what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming up, I want to dive back into a point Austin Price made about Tennessee and discipline. And some of the antics late in the game from Josh Heupel, Eli Drinkwitz. Does Tennessee have a big discipline problem on this football team? And how do you fix it going into a matchup with the number 1 team in the country this upcoming weekend? Plus, a big Titans conversation you want to stick around for at 9:20. Your phone calls as well at 615-737-1045 for 60 more minutes on RKW.
Genesis Diamonds' biggest and last sale of the year is here, okay? This weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You've been hearing about this. It's an extraordinary event with savings up to 35% store-wide. They'll have rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide event. Acclaimed designers are here with their expanded collection and special pricing. It's a massive jewelry trunk show with a lot of new items never seen before. California and New York designers are here showing off the good stuff. Get across-the-board savings from wedding bands to engagement rings to fashion jewelry and bracelets. Shop early for Christmas and don't miss these prices. Plus, get 0% interest financing. And yes, they will have luxury pre-owned Rolexes also. Genesis has a fantastic collection of really hard-to-find Rolex watches in pristine condition. Lab-grown diamonds are also included. Listen, when Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. Extreme values at this once-a-year event. The biggest and last store-wide sale of the event is this Friday, Saturday, and yes, open Sunday for this incredible event. Genesis Diamonds at both locations also, in Green Hills and in Cool Springs.
Life is busy. We could all use some extra time in our day, which is exactly why Two Rivers Ford offers mobile service. We'll bring the service to your driveway at no additional charge. Oil changes, brakes, batteries, the certified technicians at Two Rivers will perform basic maintenance on your vehicle wherever you are, so you'll have more time for moments like this. Schedule your mobile service appointment by scanning the QR code or calling Two Rivers Ford today.
What's going on? 9 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Monday Night Football last night. Broncos beat the Bills 24-22. Broncos initially missed the game-winning field goal, but a 12-men-on-the-field penalty gave them another chance, and Will Lutz did not miss it. Broncos ahead with no time remaining. Broncos have now won 3 in a row, beating the Chiefs and the Bills in the last 2 weeks. Bills fall to 5-5 and are currently on the outside looking into the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, the AFC is currently a dogfight. Every team currently in the playoffs, aside from the Texans, are 6-3 or better. Teams on the outside looking in: Bengals at 5-4, Bills and Colts at 5-5, and the Chargers at 4-5. In college basketball last night, number 14, Arkansas, whooped up on Old Dominion, 86-77. Number 12, Miami, took down FIU, 86-80. And number 2, Purdue, X'd out Xavier, 83-71. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
$60 minutes left on a Tuesday morning edition of RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast, and the whole crew is in studio. We've got Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh behind the glass. My name is Will Bowling. Join us on the phone lines at 615-737-1045 as we get into a big Titans discussion in 20 minutes on what the Titans can learn from contending teams around the NFL. You'll be able to give your thoughts on that as well in the F&M Bank chat. 104.5 The Zone TV, where the people are alive and active and activated on a Tuesday morning. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch.
Twitch, please.
Been an especially fast Tuesday show this morning.
It actually has. Usually this day is a little longer, I'd say. Not today.
Not today at all, because it's usually the Vols' dreadful losing that they had going on. I wasn't looking forward to Tuesday, Will. I'm going to be real with you, my brother. I was just like, God, that was such a smackdown that happened. But I will say this, too, and I'm blaming all you Vols fans, okay?
Uh-oh.
I'm blaming all y'all. I was able to handle the loss way better with self-coping. When I'm around other Vols fans, man, I'd be in the depths. I be dragged under. You hear me? They drag me, Kayla. I'm on an emotional roller coaster. I'm like, all right, where's the other cigar at? I'm like, okay, what's the next bottle? I'm all those things. I'm high, I'm low, I'm cold, I'm all those things, Kayla. I was able to self-cope this weekend, okay, and just be like,
look at you.
We just got beat.
Look at you, big boy.
That was growth, Kayla.
And not physically.
The same way.
That was growth. I was watching Will's tweets, and you was writing a lot of them, and I was emotionally there with you, but I had to check out.
Yeah, I watched it with my whole family, and I don't enjoy watching losses with any people. Or I really just don't enjoy watching football with more than 3 people.
That's how I am.
To be fair.
I get annoyed.
I always overcommit myself. That I'm like, why did I just want to sit by myself.
Yeah.
And yell about penalties on first down.
See, at least you were with your family, though, and you guys all have a like interest.
Good.
It's always terrible watching with your friends who aren't the same fans. It's like, wow, you guys suck. Like when they try hitting you with a joke like that and it's like, not funny, it's like I really enjoyed being your friend until this moment. This is when you'll never come back to my house.
Yeah, and for some reason, Missouri has a couple of people who they went there, and I'm not really friends with them, yet they think we're close enough where they can make jokes after the game or trash talk. And it's like, hey, buddy, we're not really friends. I don't really know you well enough. I don't even talk like this to my friends sometimes.
Facts.
So the thing is, when you have a friend and you're going up against them, I've got a couple of Georgia fans that are friends. I have one of my best friends from high school. We ran track together 7th grade through senior year, ran at Alabama. The rule is you let the team that lost, you let that fan initiate the conversation. Unless you're just trying to agitate someone, then have at it. Do whatever you want. But if you want to keep that friendship blossoming, My rule has always been, if the person doesn't want to talk about it, then the fan on the losing side just won't say anything. And that's how you know, okay, I don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, as the winning fan, text first and be like, good game. Like, no, maybe it wasn't a good game. Maybe I don't want to talk about it yet.
Yeah, you know when the line to shut up is met.
Right.
Yeah, you got to know where the line to shut up. That's why I think,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think he took it personally at all. But when Buck offered me and Savage to go watch the game with him at a bar, I was like, too many people.
Absolutely not.
Too many people at the bar.
Absolutely not.
Two, my Vols fandom, okay, is like none other on game day. It just is what it is, okay? I get excited for that 12 o'clock. 3:30 or 2:30.
You were more stressed than me when we watched the A&M game together. You thought I was going to be the more stressed one, and I was pretty chill, wasn't I?
You see what I'm saying
Thank you.
right?
Thank you.
When Buck offered me to go there, I had to at least is the juice worth the squeeze?
Sure.
And that was the first thing that are we being paid to go watch it
Does
at the
the
bar?
juice have alcohol in it?
I was saying, does it have champagne?
Give me a line of credit, okay, at your bar, and also pay me if I'm going to come watch you at
And
those
make it
places,
private.
okay? And at least give me a section in the
Yeah.
corner. That is some Buck Rise and bougie stuff I just said. Give me a
is.
section,
Bottle
a line
service.
of credit, and pay me to be there. If you're not going to do all three of them things, don't ask me out at your establishment
There you
to
go.
watch a game, okay? That's my rider for each weekend. Is that cool?
Now, you need to get a coverage for your bodyguard, too, because I would also like to be there.
Yes.
Justin in the
Yes.
F&M
do
Bank
that.
chat says, when the Bengals lose on Sundays, I immediately think of Ramon's response, and it makes my stomach hurt. I guess Justin is a Bengals fan.
I try not
boy.
to even bring it up, Justin. My bad.
The
So
other
not
thing,
just
too,
Danny.
speaking of that, whenever you go to a bar to watch NFL games on a Sunday in Nashville, you're going to see a ton of different fan bases. That's fine. I get it. Our city has grown. We're a melting pot. It is what it is. There are way too many Bengals fans and way too many Eagles fans in the city
Really?
of Nashville. Bengals, I understand a little bit more because of geography. Eagles, the bandwagon thing, so I guess I shouldn't, get too mad about that one either. But there are a lot of girls who just think Joe Burrow is hot, who love the Bengals. And I don't know if they're just bringing their boyfriends or husbands or whatever else it is, or if we're just close enough to Northern Kentucky where Cincinnati plays. Why are there so many Bengals fans in Nashville?
I think the Bengals are the new Carolina Panthers. You remember when they went to the Super Bowl with Cam?
Yeah, that's
and
true.
everybody was wearing a Cam Newton jersey, or by proxy,
true.
they were a Luke Kuechly fan, or they were a Christian McCaffrey fan. Oh, this team has so many attractive men on it. I think that's what's happening with the Bengals now. There's just too many good-looking men on that team. So that
fair.
does it for both sides of the ball. You know what I mean?
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not being totally serious when I say that people are just cheering for the Bengals because Joe Burrow is hot. That does exist.
It does.
I wouldn't
yeah.
disagree with you.
I
That's why
mean-
most people cheer for me on this show.
It's true.
Exactly. Your
I
hair
mean-
is everything.
I'm
telling you.
I'm glad you finally said it.
Those
That
locks.
pressure's off me then. Thank you, Bert.
A lot of Bills fans here, too, but Bills fans are just everywhere because that's the most rabid fan base in the NFL.
I honestly find them tolerable.
I do too.
I
I do
enjoy
too.
the antics. I enjoy the back and forth. It's the fans that can't have fun that I have the problems with.
The two I've had the biggest issues with are Bengals and Eagles. Bengals is
100%.
Bengals is the right behind Florida. Bengals is the worst experience I've ever had as a road fan in another stadium. And that was in the middle of a 2-win or 3-win season. And you'd have thought they were going to the Super Bowl that year in 2020.
I understand the Eagles, though. I get the
Eagles is Philly. Like, you know
Yeah,
what you're
that's
getting.
just what
But
it
Cincinnati
is.
has no reason to carry themselves like Eagles fans. They don't have the history the Eagles do.
Hey, not like that. You're right. Not in modern NFL era. No, since the 80s. No, they haven't.
It's just Ohio at that point.
Yeah,
Well, more like Kentucky.
That's true.
exactly.
You get the worst of Ohio and the worst of Kentucky in the Bengals fan base. 615-737-1045. Gator Mike is on line one. What's up, Mike?
What's up, Mike?
What's going on, everybody? Will, you had a bad experience at Gator?
Terrible. Well, it's because of where I was sitting, and honestly, I don't blame Florida fans. What? No, yeah, I do. What am I saying? I'm just trying to be nice. I was in the section that's between the Florida students and the Tennessee bench. I do not recommend ever choosing those seats as a road fan.
You're prime for picking right there.
That's
no
right.
doubt. Hey, real quickly, I have two quick things. I have a delayed "You're Not That Guy" for my big guy, Ramon Foster.
Oh, well.
Ramon, I hate to do this to you, but how hard of acting does it have to be when the other day I'm flipping through and The Dark Knight Rises is on,
and I see the part right before Bane blows up all those explosives for the city.
Spoiler alert.
And, they've got Mike Pouncey, Hines Ward. I'm like, Ramon, you couldn't stand there and put your hand over your heart to do the national anthem? I mean, come on.
You know what's crazy?
You're not that guy, Ramon.
I got to give you not that guy because you don't know which twin was which. That was actually Marquise Pouncey. So you're supposed to be a Florida fan. Bert, give it to him.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that
Don't
guy.
call in this show and argue with me about what I already know, okay?
Hey, in fairness, they are twins. So
No.
Mike, I'm with you. I'll give you this one.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what the issue with that? The great one, though, Mike. That was awesome. Well, those guys are already starting in that time right there. So it was one of those things where I was like a young undrafted, finding my way through. And Marquise was all Pro Bowl that year, too. And the rest of those dudes were big-time vets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do look at that and it's like, man. But it is what it is. I was in training camp still asleep that morning.
We mentioned it before the break. As far as Tennessee's discipline issues go, is that fixable this weekend, or is that just what this team is?
For this game, you got to be on 10. Everything has to be locked in.
I think I want them on like 8 or 9 because when they're on 10, they make a lot of dumb mistakes and just hit people after the whistle.
That's true, too.
I just feel like this team has a maturity issue under Josh Heupel.
I don't want to go that far. That's hard to say when you say maturity issue. I think they have a want to play hard issue and get everybody out to make a play. It's one of those, I'd rather say woe than sicker moments to me more than hey, he can't control his guys. I think when you look at what they've done at times, you're like, that was boneheaded. I can correct that. But look at the style of ball in which they're playing defensively. They are after guys a whole lot more. And the expectation, what they did last year, I think is haunting them a little bit too. And even just look where Tennessee is as far as trying to prove itself. You do boneheaded things in these moments when you try too hard. I'm a temper saying that he can't control them. That's just where I am. And I ain't saying you ain't right on that one, Will. It's a fair conversation to be had because as a head coach, you got to hold your guys down, and they got to understand I am the guy that you need to be fearful of.
Yeah, I think at this point of the season, you had to have seen some improvement in terms of lessening those. If you are seeing growth in this team, which we have seen growth in certain situations, right? They're having the injury bug a little bit this season too, but that's one thing that you haven't seen fixed really, and it's not going to completely go away. Like Austin Price was saying, just in terms of this offense and the way it's kind of laid out, but at the same time, you got to fix it a little bit. Yeah. That might be a sign of immaturity, but that can't continue next year, right? You got to at some point fix it.
615-737-1045, the number. Coming up next, there's one big lesson that I feel like the Titans can learn from contending teams around the NFL about how they built themselves into being contenders for a Super Bowl. We'll ask you the same question. We'll ask Ramon, Kayla, and have the conversation. What can the Titans learn from the elites in the NFL as they stare down the barrel of a rebuild for the rest of 2023? That's next on RKW. RKW is brewed by 8th and Rose right here on 104.5 The Zone as we talk Titans with you in hour 4. 615-737-1045, our number. If you miss any of the show, check out the podcast immediately after the show ends. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, as well as 1045thezone.com. The question we ask the people, what can Titans learn from contending teams around the NFL? There's a lot of obstacles facing this team as they stare down a rebuild in 2023. What can they learn the most from contenders like San Francisco, Philadelphia, and Kansas City? It's a question we'll ask. We'll go to the phones, though, first, where Alex is in Nashville up next with us. What's up, Alex?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. For the Titans, you can have the best defensive line in football, but if you don't have the guys that back them up, you're not going to make it. And the only way to do that is get money, which means getting rid of some of your more expensive, like your second string quarterback. He is costing us way too much money, and I know people want to keep him, but we have got to pull the bandage off and be able to get some more money, for those quality defensive backs. And the same thing with the linemen, the offensive linemen. We have got to start bringing in guys who cost a little bit more, but who can protect our new quarterback. That's the only way we can do it. Thanks.
Appreciate the call. Thank you, Alex.
Like that call.
It's fair. You have to have a corner that can take away somebody's number one wide receiver. The Titans don't have that right now.
No.
Christian Fulton's played a lot better. Christian Fulton is fine. He's not a number one corner on an elite pass defense.
No.
He's a good number 2.
He's a great number 2.
No,
when he's healthy and into it and not in a contract year.
And that's the problem. They don't have a number 1, except for they drafted like they have a number 1.
Ideally, Caleb Farley, barring injury, would have been your number 1, and Fulton would have been your number 2.
Yeah.
The way this roster was built. Didn't work out that way.
It did not.
And I hate Adoree Jackson, they didn't pay.
Right.
Because they felt like he was a number 2. And they weren't going to pay him number 1 money to be a 2. And that is the price of keeping your stars, right?
Yeah.
And keeping players when you have a rookie quarterback contract, which the Titans are about to have the luxury of, is you overpay for guys just to keep them here.
Mm-hmm.
And there is, reason for that. But the question we ask along those same lines, and it's a great segue into our conversation here. What can the Titans learn from contending teams around the NFL?
I have a few things. I had 3 solid ones until I figured out my last one. This is one thing I've been saying for a little while. The first thing first on how to get a brand or to establish a winning team is this to me, and I gave the key word away. Establishing a brand and not being held hostage to anything else. I think that's first and foremost. What is this team's brand, right, moving forward? Like, what is the brand? We've had conversations about the offensive line, the defensive line. We've had conversation about the quarterback. Last few cycles around, your guy hadn't been your guy. Like, Marcus Mariota was in and then he was out fast. The hopes of Tannehill. Now you got Will Levis. Establishing a brand has to be, and culture is what I'm saying, one of the most important things. I'm going to go through my list real quick, and I'm going to let y'all have it right after this. That's what the good teams have done. We laughed at Dan Campbell, but he established a brand. Offensively, Kansas City has a brand, although stagnant this year. Miami has a brand. The Saints, when they were good, had a brand. When you knew what you were getting when those teams went inside of your stadium. What are teams getting when the Titans go inside of their stadium the last couple of years? Can we really answer that? That actually has worked? No, that's not the case. After that, be comfortable with being uncomfortable with this process. O-line and D-line, and maybe this too, outside eyes on your organization. Whether that be OC, DC, somebody to come in and put some DNA inside of your building. And maybe that's where Rand comes into play. He's an outsider. He is.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's where I really sit. Those are my 4 points right there to the teams that are good right now. Dan Campbell played there, but he had to go to other places, come back. Reed, right? One of those same types of guys, too. Same thing with Mike McDaniels. Like, those are my 4 hit points right there, and I'll wait for y'all.
Well, and the one question I'll ask to that real quick before we go is, did the Titans build their identity on offense because they have Derrick Henry? Or is that the Titans' identity because Mike Vrabel's the head coach? And Rand Carthon now, the general manager, will have to decide, with Derrick Henry on an expiring contract, is our brand and identity already established? Do we build upon power run game, cold weather, AFC Central football? Or is there a new brand that's established if Derrick Henry isn't here next year?
The change to Levis, I think, moves you to a different brand.
Yeah,
Derrick or not.
it's fair.
Derrick or not. The establishment of Will Levis, I think, changed your brand. And this is something I feel like this fan base we've heard doing this show, even with us, Will, Kayla, you added to it before that with Jason, is we want to air it out. We want to throw down the field. I love Derrick. But even you said, what style of ball is allowing Derrick to be in games right now? When you're ahead and you need to close it out, or you got a tight one and Derrick is running. We've seen the last couple of weeks it hasn't been that with Derrick. I think everybody's infatuation with what Will Levis can provide to you is the fact that you can now move into the, hey, man, you guys pass. Watch us pass, too. Now, that's going to have to be a very uncomfortable transition to where you got to figure out what receivers work for you now. Is blocking their primary job moving forward, Vrabes? Like, let's be honest. Is blocking the wide receiver's primary job? Unless you go find a guy, and I'm going to reference somebody. George Pickens, a monster blocker as a young guy. If you go find you one of them, I'm cool with that. If Traylon evolves into catching better, staying healthy, and being capable of blocking, yeah, you can live that life too. AJ did it well enough, but he's gone. So it may have to transition over. Your point, Will, you made the other day. You know what? Maybe we need a Zay Flowers, a Tank Dell, Tyreek type. It's okay to have them. Right? Because if we airing it out and we can press you down the field with those bodies and we believe in Will Levis's accuracy at some point while getting him protected, I'll live that life.
And I agree with you on the point. I like the point you said about maybe not being afraid to go outside your coaching comfort. Because a lot of the times I understand that you are giving coaches in a way, a promotion, right? Because they've done enough. You've seen that. We've seen that a lot in Mike Vrabel's staff, it's a lot of promoting from within. Sometimes it works. Other times, I think more notably nowadays, it hasn't worked as well, or we're not seeing the fruits of that. So I think sometimes the best thing can be going out and getting new ideas and just a new way of looking at. If you want an offense that's going to compete with the offenses of the NFL, you might have to go outside your coaching circle to get that sometimes. And it'll be interesting moving forward what happens with that, because I think that's the one thing Mike Vrabel needs to learn from other places is to continue to be competitive in this NFL age. You've got to be innovative, right? So that'll be interesting to watch. I think in the way that you had mentioned this offense and what we continue to see how it evolves, it's got to go more in the way of you've got a quarterback now that can throw the ball, but what are the weapons you're putting around them? And for that, I'll go to Cincinnati and say, good job to Cincinnati and how they've drafted their wide receivers, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you look at that core, and I know you're not going to be able to keep them forever, but you got Tyler Boyd, who you took, and then you come back and those were he was a second round pick. T. Higgins, a second round pick. And then you go out and you get the money ball the next year in Jamar Chase because he was there in the first round. Boom. You have your core that Joe Burrow now can work with, and they're reliable. Yep. And I think that's a good place to look in terms of how they've developed that wide receiver talent, because in the case that the Titans have done it, guys, it's been all over the place. And I think that's where it starts, right? Draft better. If you look at the really good teams in the NFL, they've drafted well. And that's why I think Rand needs a chance, because he did come from the Niners, who, by the way, drafts well. And he's here now. And you would think this draft right here we're seeing, I think it's going to be pretty successful when it's all said and done. You got to follow up with some good ones, though.
All right.
For me, I'll say you have to build an offensive line in the draft in the next 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
You are not going to buy in free agency offensive linemen who are going to be here when the new stadium opens. And that's the goal, I think, for this franchise in a lot of ways, is to reboot and be a contender by the time they open a new building. You would certainly like to be a contender before that. But at the very least, if the Titans want to open up a new stadium with a much better and more contending team than it has right now, you're going to do that at the draft at offensive line. When you look at Pro Football Focus's top offensive lines in the NFL going into last week, of the top 5 teams, 3 of them are contenders. But I'm going to give you Atlanta, the team that's not a contender in this top 5, for the sake of the argument as well, because you can see a theme developing here on how teams build elite offensive lines. Number 1 is the Detroit Lions, contending team. 4 of their 5 offensive linemen they drafted. Taylor Decker with a 2016 first, Jonah Jackson, their left guard, with a 2020 third-round pick, Frank Ragnow in the 2018 first, Penei Sewell, who's probably the best tackle not named Trent Williams in football right now, in the first round in 2021. So not only are you seeing 4 homegrown, home-drafted offensive lines, you're seeing 3 first-round picks in that one. Let's go to the Ravens, listed at number 2. This is the outlier a little bit because they didn't draft 3 of these guys. But again, you're seeing how early these guys were drafted. Ronnie Stanley, 2016 first-round pick. John Simpson, 2020 fourth-round pick. Tyler Linderbaum at center, 2022 first-round pick. That's a guy we talked about coming here.
Liked him.
Out of Iowa. Kevin Zeitler, 2012 first-round pick by Cincinnati. And Morgan Moses, a 2014 third-round pick by Washington. Atlanta Falcons, they're not even a contender, but they have 3 first-round picks on their offensive line. Jake Matthews, 2014 first. Matthew Bergeron, a second-round pick from this past year. Drew Dahlman, 2021 fourth-round pick. Chris Lindstrom, Caleb McGarry, both 2019 first-round picks. Those guys all drafted by Atlanta. And then the gold standard, right, in Philadelphia.
Sure.
In Philadelphia, again, you could say is a little bit more of an outlier because they have had tremendous value from Jason Kelsey, who is a 6th-round pick in 2011. And he's a future Hall of Famer that you're not going to find in the 6th round in a generation. But again, Jordan Mailata is a 2018 7th-round pick. Landon Dickerson's a 2nd-round pick from Philly. Jason Kelsey, picked by Philly. Cam Jurgens, picked by Philly. Lane Johnson at right tackle is the 4th overall pick. You cannot afford to miss on the offensive linemen that you draft over the next 3 years. Because in 2026, when you're on the doorstep of a new stadium, your entire offensive line needs to be drafted here, with maybe one exception.
Other than the outlier of Philly of what they've done, right, 1 through 5, I mean, left tackle to right tackle, here's what you're noticing. And Philly is in that conversation too. You got 3 of the 5 studs. Look at them. Except for maybe what Baltimore got going on. 3 of the 5 are studs. We've had that conversation about what you need to get those dudes, Will. You've basically broken down the DNA of how do you craft a good team. 3 of your 5 offensive linemen, if you get the other 2 to be studs too, a 7th-round pick that they developed, you're owning something. That's what you're looking for. Find value in the other guys. Morgan Moses is a value pick. I mean, a value signing for Baltimore.
And remember who they have coaching that O-line there. One of the best in the NFL, hands down. So part of that, yes, when you draft them, you have to continue to work them into being those types of players for you. That's what they've done. They've sustained it.
Yeah, and I want to put a pause, just a little bit of a break check on one particular, Jalen Duncan. I know a lot of people clamor saying throw him out there, but here's the thing about Jalen. Jalen has to also be surrounded because he's a young guy and also the developmental side of it too. I ain't saying he can't do it. But I want to say throwing him super fast and expect, hey, this is going to be the plan. I love that. But it's also he's in a huge developmental process of it, too. But to the point of he's your guy, you absolutely invest in him. You look and say, okay, the assistant O-line coach, you got him. All of this time, extra, after practice, beforehand, we're working on everything. Because he can be one of that 5 that becomes a huge value for you.
I'm guessing, too, that if Will Levis hadn't been the pick in the 2nd round, let's hypothetically say that trade never happens, Titans probably were taking a center in the 2nd round.
I would probably guess you're right.
Center or guard. And that's the situation you're going to be in this year. Guys, they have to use 2 of their first 3 picks at least on offensive linemen. if their first pick is at left tackle, then either Jalen Duncan has really performed very, very well, or they got some crazy bargain in free agency. And look, Andre Dillard, there's a lot made about the money he is being paid, right? And yes, it's a big number. But as far as left tackles go, it's really not.
That's cheap.
$10 million?
Man, that's light work.
That's why I think they did it, because they were like, oh, we'll take the chance.
It was a low-risk move.
Yeah. And you know how the NFL is. Coaches want to fix things. That's what we've talked about this numerous times, guys. Yep. Oh, he's a project, perhaps? Okay, we'll fix him.
And that's not excusing, obviously,
No.
making that signing. It was not Rand's best move. You could argue pretty easily it's the worst move that Rand has made so far. But for all the Titans fans who want to talk about Marvin Harrison Jr., Keon Coleman, these elite wide receivers, I still, again, think that you're more likely to see that be a day 2 need for this team, because you learn from contending teams like Detroit, like Philadelphia, like Baltimore. You have to start up front. It is easier to buy high-impact free agent wide receivers than it is to buy really good linemen who are going to be here for a long time.
And that's why I like that fact that Cincy could kind of, for the most part, get some guys in the second round. Then eventually, when they had the time to go and get them and they had the luxury, they could take a first rounder. But instead, J-Rob, in my opinion, I cannot go back to that trade enough now, because it's like you needed to continue to build that line, and you didn't.
And you could have, if you hadn't drafted Will Levis this year too.
I'd almost see them going outside rusher before they even go wide receiver, because that's another issue too, Will. Somebody got to get home on the defense.
Inside linebacker, or corner, or safety. I mean, it just...
They need help with Aziz.
We'll get to your thoughts on this coming up next. 615-737-1045. We'll start with John and Michael on the other side. What do the Titans need to learn from contending teams? Your thoughts coming up next. RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. As we wrap up the show, the Buck Rising Show is next. Got you covered until 1 o'clock here on The Zone, 615-737-1045. They've got Dan Lust, sports lawyer, at 10:20.
Wow.
High school football hero Jared Curtis, very talented 2026 Nashville Christian quarterback, at 11:45 this morning. We go back to the phones where we ask the question, what could the Titans learn from contenders around the NFL? And we start with Michael in Hendersonville. First up, what's up, Michael?
Hey, just wanted to let you know my opinion on this. I mean, to me, looking at other contenders in past Titans history, we have got to do a better job of drafting drafting better players in the first and second round. To me, I mean, if you look at a team that's up and coming like the Lions, they just drafted Gibbs, Aiden Hutchinson. They're building along those core players. To me, the Titans do a really good job drafting in day 3, late second round, early third, fourth round picks. We've gotten some franchise players, some guys that really stepped up. But in the first round, the swing and misses with Isaiah Wilson, Traylon Burks, Caleb Farley. You go back to the previous years with Titans, you look back at the draft with Lawan, Mariota, Conklin. All those guys really performed well, and I think they could do a better job in the first early rounds.
Yep.
Agree.
There's not facts there.
Yep.
Appreciate
absolutely.
the call. There's a comment in the chat. Sensei Tank 94 says, we can fix the offensive line in one season. It's not chess, it's checkers. LOL.
LOL.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Ramon, what do you say to that?
Yeah, that's the thing. You're going to pay for it. Then you mess your cap up doing those types of things. And it's hit or miss with those free agents like that, too. I'll forever say this. With the two positions, O-line and D-line, well, and quarterback, too, you got to have more of your guys so that the culture is set, so that people walk in that room and know this is how we do things.
Yeah, look around contending teams in the NFL and tell me how many of them have just paid their offensive linemen.
If you think you can rebuild your offensive line in 1 year, that's exactly what you'll have as an LOL.
Yeah, you will. O-L, exactly, Bert.
Even when Kansas City had all those big purchases on the offensive line and Wiley, and they went and got, guys in free agency to play line, and Orlando Brown, they're doing that by supplementing draft picks with 1 or 2 free agents. That you can do, right? When you have Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith in the interior, you can go out and sign a left tackle or a left guard,
right,
for a lot of money. But it's not saying you have to draft every single member of your line, but you need to draft at least 3 of them, I would say.
There's balance to it, is what you're saying.
Right.
Trey and Creed are cheap as ever right now, right?
Yeah.
They're very cheap.
And so was their quarterback when they made those moves, too. And if Will Levis is the franchise quarterback, he's not cheap forever.
Right.
Got 4 years.
You got to get it done before.
Let's go to John to finish off the phones this morning. What's up, John?
Good morning, y'all. My question is actually for Big Moan. Is the college game that much different as far as the O-line is concerned? Because it seems like in the league, most teams are struggling at the O-line position, and I don't know if it's because of the splits are so wide and you don't have to hold your blocks as long in college, or, because the hashes are so tight in the pro game that you have to, hold your blocks a little longer. And it just seems like the O-line around the league is a problem. So I'm just wondering, is the quality of O-linemen in college not really suited for the pro game?
Very fair question.
Thank you, John.
There's a lot that kind of goes into it. If you're going to scout offensive linemen in college, you look for the type. Michigan's known. Georgia's known. Bama's known. Oklahoma known. Those are known commodities when it come down to it. You got to be very familiar with the coaches, what the coaches are teaching these guys too. The O-line play in college is hit or miss. Big time, too, because here's the thing about colleges in general. College coaches are trying to win and do everything they can to fit their system into those 3-4 years, maybe even two years they have with those offensive linemen. It's the same thing you look at with Heupel or anybody else, Lane or anybody else that's coaching the game. Like, what is the system doing for those offensive linemen in those situations right there? Darnell was developed under Coach Ellerby last year. So that, to me, tells me he has the ability to have developed guys.
Sure.
Look at those success stories right there, and not necessarily, oh, he's from Ohio State or he's from Wisconsin. Like, what is the development of those guys at those universities like? And make sure that they fit your style and what you're asking them to do, too. Like Peter Skoronski, Titan style of offense. Pass protector, look like they're going to get to that, and also a road grader at times, too. And the same thing goes for NPF if he stays healthy enough and, stay on the field. He can be transitional in how he plays the sport. So look at the offensive line coaches and the culture of what they put out year after year.
Isn't Notre Dame a big one?
They are,
linemen?
yes.
And Joe Alt is the big name at left tackle this year.
Specifically.
I personally have the way I feel about them at times too.
Yeah.
Their offensive
And that's
line
why I
are
asked you,
smart,
yeah.
athletic guys, but I do question sometimes because of their lack of playing in conferences at times what their style of play is.
Exactly.
Not saying they're soft or anything like that, but I like to know what it's like for them.
Nicholas in the F&M Bank chat says, we've been trying to rebuild this line for 20 years now, and y'all still want us to get a lineman over a generational type player like Bowers or Harrison, LOL.
Are you watching what's happening with this team
We also haven't been trying to rebuild a line for 20 years. The line was one of the best in the NFL a few years ago.
It was.
And that's when you made the AFC Championship game.
And everybody knew that, too.
Yeah, Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards. None of those guys made the Pro Bowl, but Ben Jones, Roger Saffold, Taylor Lewan, Jack Conklin, Nate Davis.
Yep.
Pretty good. Pretty good line.
Now, let's answer this, too. I think Blaine and Mickey talking about it, too. Tannehill, under that line, got guys paid. Corey, AJ.
True.
Jonnu Smith.
Jonnu Smith was in that.
Jack Conklin
Derek,
got paid off.
Jack Conklin's in that. So the residuals there of what that era did with that offensive line, dudes got paid because of that. Let's not act like, you had nobody from it. You did have dudes from it.
Yeah, Titans have had great left tackles the entire time they've been here, including our friend Brad Hopkins.
Except for recently.
Crazy. Back at it again tomorrow morning. Mike Wilson will join us, talk a little Tennessee football and hoops as they host Wofford tonight. That's your dog's favorite team, the Terriers.
Yeah.
Scout meeting Wednesday, Rhett Bryan, all that and more coming up tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. as Ramon Foster sends us home.
Good people at all times. Your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.